defend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lomito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well, welcome everybody to another Beat the Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you. We're on the edge, on the verge, right at the gates of Fight Week, which will be coming up next Saturday. Of course, that fight between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, but for today, we try to keep it light, concise, succinct, as we talk about what happened last night over in Australia, Mart. And we're also going to be talking about some of the comings and goings, some of the rumors swirling around boxing, all that type of stuff. So we're going to get on to that. But before we get on to, we're going to open up the phone lines as well about near the end of the hour, depending on how everything goes. So before we get down to the fun, fellas, you know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. If you join the Patreon page, you are going to be supporting indirectly, in a more direct way, rather, some of the future projects that we're working on. In fact, we got a project that's right on the verge of coming out, so stay tuned for that. So make sure to check that out. Of course, the most important thing is that you continue to like and subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel, all right, fellas? You spread it nice and wide. Also, you can check us out at your leisure over at iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker. And I have been told, I was giving a communique, that if you go to Spotify, please hit the 5-star rating for our episodes. I believe that's what I was told. So make sure that you do that. It really helps us out. And what else? Oh yeah, and hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Talking about LOI, Jay Perez, Alfredo Contreras, Joe, aka JDA, Trey Asun, Fury Owns Wakanda, Knockout Ned, Pounce. Who else we got here? Antonio Hernandez, SSC in the house. Shout out to SSC. Rapax Trucking Company. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company, one of the initiated as well. John Doe, Ralph Unreal, Bray, Quentin Lassiter. Who else we got? Hitman 87. Never Sobers in the house. Shout out to Never Sobers. El Gordo. El Gordo. Eparucua, Dark Hay Dog, one of the initiated. Michael Poe. Shout out to Michael. The Gucci Berserk, and many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right. So we're going to be talking about last night's fight, the return of Vasyl Lomachenko after, about a year off, right? Finally returns and shows the people that he still has it. He still has it. Then the question becomes, he has it, but for what? And for whom? Who is next in the Lomachenko sweepstakes? Hold on a second. I'm going to call a couple of people here. How do I do this? Give me 2 seconds here. All right. I got a new way of calling people all at the same time. I hope it works. Same bundle. Happy Mother's Day as well. Gotta get off of this show quickly afterwards. So I'm gonna try to keep it short, not 3 hours. 3 hours is too much. But anyway, Lomachenko ends up defeating the former undisputed champion, George Kambosos, and he stops him in the 11th round. And there was they made a big deal about how Lomachenko a champion again, and I'm thinking, all right, it's and anybody can. There's 4 titles now, and the people out there that they fall for everything. They decided to go with the narrative, the story that the WBO is somehow a legitimate belt. So now we got 4 belts. 10 years from now, we might have 5 belts with the IBO. You never know. But for the moment, there are 4 belts, including about 2 super versions or diamond versions. I don't know what they call it. I know the WBA has a super one, and the WBC has their interim positions and all that. So in total, you might have about 6 champions running around in any one division. So, I mean, yeah, Lomachenko, he's got another title, but that's not really the point. The point was we wanted to see what he had left. Because that's the question every time Lomachenko takes a break and comes back is how much does he have left? Because let me tell you, his style is somewhat dependent on his physicality, his physical talents. Not that he's technically inept, mind you, but he does a lot of moving. It's a very eclectic style, a lot of feinting in and out, a lot of moving, and you have to wonder whether there's a more economical way of going about it. Now, of course, who am I to start telling a 2-time gold medalist, 3-division world champion, how he should fight? But it does make you wonder. I know after a long time of watching boxing, you start, when you see older guys continue to have success against younger guys, there is a bit of a shift in style. I mean, Marco Telo Barrera and Bernard Hopkins were seek and destroy type fighters. But then when they hit their 30s, all of a sudden they said, hey, I can actually box a little bit more, make things easier for me. Same thing with a little bit like Shane Mosley. He was more of a stand in front of you type fighter, not as many flurries as when he was a lightweight, but still effective and still able to smother guys when he had to, like when he did against Margarito. So there's a definite change in styles. And I was going to say that Lomachenko kind of looked slower last night, but I think it's possible, I want to get other people's thoughts on this, that he might have slowed things down a little bit, knowing that it's not necessary anymore to be the Matrix, the guy that's constantly darting around his opponent, turning them, that type of stuff. So you have to wonder about that. But one thing I also want to make clear about Lomachenko is that he went in there and stopped the guy, and he did it clean. He went in there with a size disadvantage, age disadvantage, and he stopped the guy that Teofimo Lopez couldn't stop, and Devin Haney in 24 rounds could barely put a dent in him. Yeah, he busted him up, facially, but he never had him out, down and out. Lomachenko goes in there, no clinching, no dipping below the waist, and stops the guy. So at this point, you have to wonder. People were trying to make it out to be as if Lomachenko was finished, blah, blah, blah. How can you say a guy is finished, by the way, when he actually beat the younger, bigger man in his previous fight? I'm talking about the Devin Haney one. But it goes to show that if you repeat one thing long enough, people believe it. I see we got Jimmy jumping in here. Jimmy, you there?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? What were your thoughts on... What's up? What were your thoughts on Lomachenko's performance last night?
Well, I thought it was fabulous. I thought he looked great.
Fabulous.
And to your point, yes, just fabulous. But no, to your point about but to your point about the movement, he's wholly dependent on that. It's his movement what makes him difficult. Did you hear, unfortunately, he was saying some good stuff last night, the kid on ESPN. But he kept mentioning level changes. What's that, brother?
Bradley.
Yes, Bradley. He kept saying level change. Look at level changes. A lot of people associate that with just throwing a punch, right? You think level change is going down. Oh, so your head to the body. It's just dipping the head down is a level change. Exactly. Dipping it to the right, dipping it to the left. And it's so hard to do something repetitively and not make it repetitive, meaning you get into a rhythm with it. Like you'll start to go, okay, so I got to drop down. So you'll almost automatically do something rhythmically, like go down twice, go to the right once, go down twice. Like you'll get into a pattern. So it's very taxing on yourself just mentally to constantly know okay, this round I have to do, they'll probably give it a name, plan G, meaning moving everything to the left a little bit, dipping to the left. What he does is when he does the dip, he'll bring his left knee in and dip down on his knee. What that does, it makes it almost impossible to time him. and almost impossible to counter him. That's how he's able to sit in the pocket, right? Because that's a big thing. He's never like out. He does most of his damage because he has shorter arms because he's always the smaller fighter. He does all that damage when he's right there. Did you see it? I believe it was the 6th round. Bradley started laughing, and Joe Tessitore, and although he wasn't one of my favorite people, I'll get into that after some of the stuff he said. But they started laughing. They were like, Jesus Christ, he had no idea where those punches were coming from. Remember, he got called up and he kind of looked up and he was missing bad. Yeah, no, listen, I said this was the fight that Lomachenko will exploit every fighter's weakness. And if you're not up to the challenge or anywhere near his skill levels, he's going to make you look silly. For instance, MMA fighter, blonde kid, I forget his name now, Dillashaw, TJ Dillashaw. He's like, I consider myself a decent boxer. I've been training boxing a long time. He goes, I sparred with him, and I was just blown away. Like I couldn't imagine fighting him. I couldn't put a glove on him. And he was right in front of me, and I couldn't put a glove on him because his movement. I mean, his father studied it. I mean, they really did study it, and the reason why many guys haven't done it, it is taxing. Your conditioning has to be at the utmost. You better not, take off road work because you're going to pay for it. But because of that, it's erratic and it's so hard to time. That's why they always say, what do you hear people say? I say it all the time. Once somebody's got somebody's rhythm down, and you saw how quick Loma had his rhythm. Like that kid goes, the Greek kid, he fought last night. He goes in and out at Kambosos, in and out in a straight line. Never does anything different. Mm-hmm. So guys like Loma can he toyed with them. But I think you brought up a very good point. 24 rounds with Haney, 12 with Tio. Tio put him down because he can crack. But outside of cutting up his face with anybody cut up a face with boxing gloves on. But Haney never had Kambosos on the verge of anything. And that fight was getting stopped. That was his father, I guess, who threw the towel, and it wasn't his corner. It wasn't even the head trainer. So he bypassed the head trainer by throwing a towel in, which he did the right thing. It was just target practice at that point. He was at the 11th round. The next 4 minutes was just him going to get, because Loma was going to turn it up, because he was clearly going to look for the stoppage. So it would have just been an unnecessary beating he put on him. But, yeah.
Hey, by the way, can I just clarify something?
Level deals. Yes, absolutely.
He did drop him with a headshot first, right? But the referee missed it. That's why Lomachenko immediately went for the... Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, that was the drop. Because you know why? Lomachenko fell on top of him. Right. So because of that, by Lomachenko falling on him, I can see the ref from his angle. He didn't really see the punch clear, and if you from that angle, it does look like Loma kind of pushed him down. But make no mistake, he was going down. That headshot put him down, and his father knew it put him down, because you don't land down even if pushing down on your body, you don't land on your face on the canvas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You go down on your elbows and your hands. You don't plot all the way down to your face like that.
And that's why Loma jumped on. And that's why Lomachenko jumped on him right away, because he knew. Okay, and that's why he went to the body, because now he's expecting it upstairs. I'm going to go downstairs. I got to say this too. Kambosos, he's being besmirched. People are saying, well, how did this guy ever become undisputed? The guy has good hand speed. He's got a big right hand. Moreover, he's very well conditioned and he's got balls. You got to give it to the guy as well. He's got heart. There's a certain fine line between stubbornness and courage. And I think he's on the courage side, because when he got beat by Haney, he immediately said, I want this guy again. Now, yeah, some people would have said in hindsight, they go, oh, that's stubbornness, because there was no way he was going to beat Haney. But he didn't feel that way. There's no quit in this guy. And, in boxing, you don't need to be the perfect fighter to get some good wins. You just have to, Chief always says this, you just have to have certain attributes and be able to put them together at work simultaneously. And that's what Kambosos did when he got his shot at Teofimo Lopez. People might want to disparage him by calling him a one-hit wonder. But hey, the guy got his shot at Lopez. It was his biggest fight ever against a legitimate puncher who had a lot of momentum going into that fight with the whole I'm the first guy to legitimately beat Lomachenko thing. And Lopez went to war with the guy and dropped him. survived a topple of his own, got his second win, and he was able to beat Lomachenko. So, Lopez. So this whole thing of, he's a one-hit wonder. I mean, again, I think they're bordering on disparaging the guy.
I'll go even one little better. He's above average counterpuncher. He's actually excellent counterpuncher. Not so much on his accuracy, but he's got real quick counterpunches, and that's what he is. He's a counterpuncher. But a counterpuncher, that's like the worst thing, because that's to fight Lomachenko. You cannot let him come forward. If you let him come forward and he dictates the pace, it's on. You know what I mean? Forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I believe he beat Haney. And I mean, he absolutely beat Haney. I can't even believe that fucking that decision. But yeah, no, he did the same thing. He set the pace. He had, just the optics. Lomachenko's in his corner. His father's telling him he's doing a great job, and they're discussing fucking angles and shit. And Haney's in the corner. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to, like shocked, dejected. He was visibly hurt on multiple occasions. Loma set the pace, everything. It's just laughable that people. Those are box rec heroes, man. You're gonna hold up a fucking judge's robbery as a disparaging point. He lost twice. So really, did he? Yeah, fuck off. You get an agenda.
Well,
even if I couldn't stand Loma, I would never take a victory away from a fighter. Even if I couldn't stand him, I wouldn't.
Exactly. And it's interesting that people started wondering now after what happened yesterday. They go, well, what would have happened had Lomachenko said, you know what, I'm staying here in North America and I'm getting that Kambosos fight in 2022 instead of going to the Ukraine and essentially just doing a USO tour, the USO tour equivalent or whatever they got there in the Ukraine. And, it's you have to assume that he would have done the same thing, maybe even worse, or in more destructive fashion back in 2022. So this guy set apart his pride and could have easily become the champ, but he didn't.
Yep.
So it's interesting how things work out in the end. I'm pretty sure he doesn't regret it, because for him, his country was more important than a bunch of belts. But you still have to wonder.
Now we can't even go back.
Oh shit! Well, that's another thing there, right there.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to mention is this: I was on Twitter, Jimmy, and people were saying, "How did Lopez lose to Kambosos?" Because again, they're disparaging Kambosos, and then they're saying, "Well, that wasn't the same Lopez. If Lopez were to fight him again, he would knock him out." And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Well, Lomachenko lost to Lopez. And it was clear that the shoulder was bothering him. That's why he was so defensive in the first 5 rounds. People said, including the Lopez's, no excuses and no rematch. Then, immediately afterwards, Lopez loses his fight, and out come the excuses. So people were so quick to give Lopez, he wasn't himself. But with Lomachenko, stop crying, no excuses. There's a certain double standard that people apply with Lomachenko, which I've mentioned it before. I don't understand why Lomachenko gets the type of grief that he gets. He never punched a woman. He never ran over a pregnant woman. He never said, I'll never lose to a black boy or anything racial like that. Why does he receive the type of hate he receives? I don't know.
Because he's a white European.
Oh, wait a minute.
It is what it is. Even the most honest of fans will tell you. To their credit, I saw a couple of black guys talking about it on Twitter. And these guys I've been following for years, like hardcore fans. They don't give a shit about what the dude's rapper is. They only care about the dude's heart. Is he putting on good boxing? And there's plenty. We have a bunch of guys who call in who are black who know that. But there's a subsection of black dudes, because they're so into identity politics. They live, everything they look at is through the prism of race. So when a black man loses, to them, it's a personal affront, because that's their identity. So now their identity is taking a hit.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you look at it that way, that's the reason what drives it. That's what drives the LDBC. Their identity is tied up in with these boxers. Just listen to the way they talk. So I'm a soldier on the fucking grinding on the front lines for you, champ. And I appreciate it, soldier. Wilder calls you. We are at war. That's what come out of Wilder's mouth, man.
Right.
It's just insanity.
Well, look,
but that's 100% what drives it. It's racially, and and are xenophobically driven. The same things that what Inouye's going through right now. Like with that, even that moron Virgil Hunter, that fucking idiot, the shit that come out of his mouth last week. The same guy who was crying about Khan after, Canelo knocked him out. Well, he came up 2 weight classes. That was stupid, or he shouldn't have went up that weight. And, I don't see why Inoue can't go up 3 more weight classes to 135. You mean 7 from where he started? It's just asinine. And what would drive that? What would possibly drive him to make such an embarrassing statement? Simple. He can't stand the fact that a Japanese fighter is pound for pound the best fighter in the world and the most dominant fighter in the world.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
story.
You know what? I'm debating in my head about what's the reason for, because again, I can get into these people's heads and wonder why they say the things they say, like the Virgil Hunter case. We can speculate around. The main thing is that they do apply certain standards to some fighters that they fail to apply to others. So that's one thing right there. But to continue back with the boxing here, that's what I've always been saying. Look, Lomachenko was injured in the Lopez fight. Now, some people say, yeah, but so Lopez was injured too. So, because some people say he actually came out later and said, I had a broken toe. Which, by the way, broken toe has a connotation that your toe is hanging by a little flimsy piece of skin. He didn't have. He had a hairline fracture on that toe. So let's not make it out to be like he had a fractured foot or something, right? But that's why I was always saying, look, run it back. You're injured, he's injured, run it back while you both are healthy. The Lopez's didn't want it. And then after he loses to Kambosos, out come out the excuses about the hole in the esophagus, or he had a hole in his rectum. I don't know where he had a hole. Then he was having trouble breathing. He had trouble with his wife, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's why I'm saying run it back. Some fights deserve a rematch just to get some closure. Because I got OCD, I think. I haven't gotten diagnosed, but I think I got OCD because I hate lack of closure. I hate open-ended movies with open endings where they don't tell you what happened. I want to see closure. Maybe it's a control thing that I have, but it would have been simple. Just run it back, a rematch. But the Lopez's didn't want to. And it's interesting. Everybody that fights Lomachenko, the 3 guys that have managed to get the wins over him, which are always close wins, by the way, Salido didn't want a rematch. Lopez didn't want a rematch. Haney didn't want a rematch. Immediately after the fight, they said, screw that, no rematch, we're leaving. But then they get the Lomachenko curse. Salido ended up getting into a liquor store fight, got into legal trouble. Lopez lost immediately afterwards. Haney had a bit of a windfall when he took on Prograis, but then immediately had that whooping from Ryan Garcia. And again, nobody cares if Ryan Garcia was on Austrian or not. I mean, come on. Did that left hook had Austrian on it? And that's what dropped him. So people don't care about it. So there seems to be something about, hey, give Lomachenko. It's like when they opened up the tombs in Egypt and they were cursed. It's the same thing with Lomachenko. If you beat him, give him a rematch. Otherwise, things end up bad for the fighters. I don't know. I don't want to be superstitious. I'm not trying to create a panic here.
I mean, I believe wholeheartedly in karma. Listen, Haney ran out of that ring that night. The hometown crowd was absolutely pro-Haney when that fight started. The same with last night. What do you think that did to Kambosos' morale when he heard the Australians chanting Loma, Loma, Loma? You know what I mean? The same thing that happened that night in Haney. Like Davis said after on his live, he said, man, did you see that? Lomachenko, that was a Haney crowd. He made that his crowd. I mean, they saw it because people who spend that kind of money and go to boxing matches are usually true fans and can actually see what's going on. And even the fighters like Bud Crawford and Davis who were there to support Haney straight up said, yeah, no, Lomachenko won that fight. I mean, Stevens didn't even hesitate. He goes, oh, yeah, no, Loma won that. Easy. It was like set the pace, did everything. He outlanded him. He landed the more telling shots. I mean, just any metrics you would use to gauge who won that fight, he clearly won. That's why he was so distraught. I'm surprised he even came back. I would have told this country and this sport to go fuck itself.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with the future. Because during the fight, they mentioned Tank Davis. And then afterwards, they mentioned Navarrete. And then afterwards, at the last spot, they mentioned Shakur Stevenson, which is weird because Shakur Stevenson is still with Top Rank. However, for the past couple of months now, there's been the storylines on news websites about whether he's going to re-sign with Top Rank. Now, the rumor was or I forget if it was a rumor. Hopefully, one of you guys will correct me later. But that the deal was a 3-fight deal or a multi-fight deal from Top Rank, and he was going to get more than 1.5 mil per fight. I think it was even 3 mil. And apparently, Shakur Stevenson was that
3 mil. You're correct.
3 mil. Okay, 3 mil. Which even with inflation, that's still pretty good money for a boxer. Especially one that doesn't draw as many ratings and who bores the crap out of people. Apparently, Shakur Stevenson said no, wasn't good enough for him. So that's why I think they mentioned Shakur Stevenson last. They even mentioned Tank Davis before him. So there seems to be this brouhaha about whether Lomachenko could maybe get in there with Tank Davis, which would be a big money fight, or whether they're going to put him in there against the winner of Navarrete Baranchyk.
Well, it's because Davis talked about him, tweeted about him during the fight. That's why. I'm just telling you that. That's why.
Right, but now we know that there's a precedent for Tank Davis openly saying, we're not ready for Lomachenko. Either him or his team saying, not ready. Going back to 2016.
For years. They did it for years. Since 2016, they've been saying it.
Right. So my question is, are they going to put, because you got to look at it this way. It's pretty coincidental that they're putting in Navarrete in against a Ukrainian guy who looks a lot like Lomachenko stylistically. I mean, it seems to me like that's the way they're gonna go with. They're gonna go for Lomachenko.
No, I wouldn't doubt it. I think that's a good assessment.
But then, but then that's the question then, because obviously the biggest money fight would be a Tank Davis fight. But again, that's dependent on whether Tank Davis gets past Frank Martin. It's dependent on whether the Tank Davis side wants it, and it would be dependent upon whether there's a Saudi Arabian deal involved. Because you know that dude Alashiki is throwing money around left and right. He might be able to put up the money for a fight that dissolves the division between PBC and Top Rank. Says, guys, make it happen right here in Saudi Arabia. But okay, first of all, I got to read a super chat here. Let me go to these. Hey, by the way, fellas, don't forget hit the like. It really helps us out. Shout out to Mike from Bensonhurst. Who says, "Watch that scumbag Tank make Shakur." Hold on, I got to put it up on the big screen here. Watch that scumbag Tank make Shakur, Loma, and Navarrete all fight each other, then fight Loma when he's about 38 and get all the belts. Shake my damn head. I mean, well, first of all, in order for Loma to get all the belts, he would have to beat two very tough guys in Navarrete and Shakur Stevenson. So we don't know whether he ended up, but in the event that he does end up with the belts, yeah, I could see that, Mike. I could see Tank Davis sitting in the background. Maybe he gets tired of the streets and gets into trouble again so he can go inside. I don't know. Tank Davis strikes me as the type of guy that likes being inside, likes that type of lifestyle. I don't know. So maybe he takes a little vacation inside again, another 6-month sentence, and then when he comes back, he fights one guy for all the belts. Shout out to Sursair for his contribution by the super chat. He says, BDA, do you skip the first 10 to 15 minutes of a Ring IQ video too? Am I the only one who thinks Ring IQ is a pervy freak? Could you run a poll? 14-8. Okay, come on. First of all, that comment had a bunch of things that I shouldn't even have read on the air, especially I think the last one. But as to whether I'm a perv, whether he's a perv, I'll start a poll if you want. I'm a perv though, so I'm usually pretty good at identifying who's a perv and who's not. And let me tell you, Susair, you got a little bit of perviness in you too, a little bit there, a little bit, Susair. You know, I'm your friend and everything. I'm just telling you how it is, man. Living there in the mountains in Georgia, Appalachia. Playing guitar, I don't know, something pervy about that. But maybe that's just me. Again, I'm a perv, so I tend to project onto everybody else. Shout out to Evanor Deras for his contribution with the super chat. He says, let's not forget how Loma treated Lopez before Lopez became champion. Plus, Loma was the one who didn't want the rematch clause before the fight. Well, first of all, how did Loma treat Lopez before the fight? Because I know Lopez said they treated me badly, and then when the reporter pressed him, what did they do? He became very evasive and didn't want to say anything. So again, please, Evan, give me some.
Yeah, because I've heard that same comment been made. Well, Loma treated him terribly before. Really, exactly what did he do? I've yet to hear anybody say what he. It's like systemic racism. Okay, where? Well, microaggression. It's like, okay, get out of here with that bullshit, dude. I mean, come on. How did he treat him badly? And it was Bob Arum who didn't want the fucking rematch clause. And the reason being, because the fucking Lopez's didn't want it. And they were dragging their feet. Remember, Lomachenko signed that contract to fight Lopez almost 3 months. 3 months before Lopez put his name on the paper. because they were fucking around, wanting this, wanting that, fucking all kinds of shit. They were breaking Bob's balls.
Didn't Lomachenko even take money away from his purse so that they could make? Oh yeah, there you
to
go.
make the fight happen. Yep.
So this is what I'm talking about.
And he signed it in December 10th. Lopez didn't sign until March the following year.
Well, this is what I'm talking about with Lomachenko. He's the guy that acquiesces to all the demands. He doesn't haggle over location, size of the ring, glove size. As far as I know, I've never heard anything about that. Never heard him be difficult during the negotiation for a fight. But because Lopez said that he was mistreated, and he was very ambiguous about it, well, that means Lomachenko doesn't deserve a rematch. And again, like you said, Loma was the one who didn't want the rematch. Again, where's the evidence for that? Bob Arum is the one that said, there's a statement out there where he said, this fight doesn't need a rematch. So again, I'd like to see some evidence where Loma said no rematch. And by the way, the only one I remember being disrespectful is Angel Garcia, or whatever his name is, Teofimo Lopez's father. He's the one that went up in a hotel lobby to the Lomachenko team, drunk out of his mind, and started harassing them, screaming at them. So again, there's this revisionist history. People just seem to hear something again, and then they go with it. I look at the evidence. I see Lopez Sr. drunk in a drunken rant, harassing the Lomachenkos. And then when they asked him what happened, they asked Lopez what happened. He goes, "I don't know, man. It's just the way he looked at me, like he didn't think I was anything." And I'm thinking, well, there you go. It's all in your head. That's how people get killed in the streets. Hey, man, this guy, look at me. What's up, man? What's up? And then they pull out a gun. They kill each other. That's how idiots end up in jail. So, I mean, this whole thing about Lomachenko not deserving a rematch, because of everything that Evanor said, I'd like to see some evidence for it. Because again, it just seems like people just say things, and I don't know, man.
And the thing is, what made it suck, didn't fucking Lopez, he fought again at 135, right? Yeah, he fought Kambosos. So he fought again at 135. At least Haney had the decency not to fight at 135 again.
Well, shout out to
at least he said, well, but...
Shout out to Pujol Zine for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, I think Loma dominates Navarrete. Too easy to hit. Well, shout out to Pujol Zine for his contribution there, but I think that's a misconception too. Navarrete is not easy to hit at all, man. He is not easy to hit. He parries very well. He uses his feet to get away from shots. You better be careful thinking that when you go in there against Navarrete, if you think it's going to be easy, it's very easy to get sucked into a whirlpool with this guy where you just try to hit him and you can't, and then he comes at you with these looping shots from all angles. That's how guys get beat by him, by underestimating him. Shout out to Evan Nordoras for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, for 2 years, he told him to get a belt and then come see me. All right, so 2 years. So the first fight, their fight happened in 2020. In 2018, he said, get a belt to come see me. That's why Lopez said no rematch? Because he told him, get something before I can actually fight you? Lomachenko was pretty adamant about how he wanted to be undisputed. So why would he fight a prospect? I mean, I don't know where this guy's coming from. And then he says, when Teo beat Comey, Loma said, welcome to my club. Well, of course. Why would he fight? Then he fights a prospect. Again, this was the height of Lomachenko's, because he had some of the belts and he was pound for pound. If he would have fought a prospect, people would have said, what the hell is he doing? They would have had reason to criticize him. So yeah, of course, if he said that, go get a belt first, and now Lopez says no rematch. Well, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Well, and I got to add, when did he say that about the belt? Because he didn't become the 135-pound champion until September of 2019. He signed a contract to fight Lopez in December, October, November, December. 3 months after becoming the 135-pound champion, he signed a contract to fight Lopez. Lopez was never at 130, was he? Wasn't he always at 135?
Yeah, I believe he was always at 135, yeah.
So why would he be telling a 135-pounder 2 years earlier, who would have been just considered a total prospect, about getting a belt to come see me at 130? It doesn't make sense.
But Jimmy, I don't understand this whole thing too. So let's say Lopez is a prospect, right? He calls out Lomachenko. So now Lomachenko has to fight him? And Lopez takes that personally if he doesn't? I mean, it makes no sense. I don't understand the logic here.
Lopez was looking for excuses for not running it back because he knows 2 good wings, Loma fucking dominated him. We saw that at the end of the fight. We saw that in the last when he decided to start letting fucking through caution to the wind, let both hands go. We saw what happened.
And not for nothing, but
Loma
we saw,
was the
and not
better
for
fighter
nothing,
all
but
around.
not for nothing, but Lopez wins, no rematch. At least he's consistent because when he beat Lomachenko, he said no rematch. Then when he lost to Kambosos, immediately he said no rematch. So he's a guy that, at least you got to give him that. He's consistent. He doesn't like rematches. Whether he actually edges out a win or whether he gets knocked down and loses his belts, at least he's consistent, says no rematches. So I got to give that to him. By the way, like Butcher says in the chat, hit the like, or no Fury Usyk show next week. Whoa! Butcher's putting his foot down and saying, hit that like. Otherwise, we're going to have the business. All right, fellas? You want the business? I don't think you do. We're going to be opening the phone line soon, fellas. Don't forget about that. So continue to hit the like. Jimmy, I want to ask you something. I remember I was reading about Roberto Duran. And the guy goes to the body. He always tried to the legend about him was that he would always try to get you with body shots under the heart. I remember a guy at my gym told me, one of the trainers said, oh yeah, uppercuts, body shots under the heart, they hurt. I'm thinking, why is that? Have you ever heard that? And have you ever either hit a guy with a shot there or gotten hit there? And what's that about, hitting a guy under the heart?
It's a solar plex. It's a solar plex punch. It's just, they call it under the heart. All it is, it's a liver shot takes your legs out, right? A solar plex punch takes your wind out of you, like you can't breathe. Everybody's been punched in the solar plex, right? In your sternum, right? You can't breathe. Mm-hmm. The same thing happens with a liver shot, except your legs go away, too. So that's all a heart. Like, you can't stop the heart or cause any heart damage. Right, There's nothing in there all that is a sternum punch. Because the heart's right there, and if you're especially you're right-handed, you're going to be landing right about there when you're aiming for the heart.
Well, actually, that's not quite true though, because I did hit a guy. I had a special punch back in my wild days where I would actually hit so hard I could actually stop a guy's heart. But anyway, that's not for this discussion. But see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they used to call the solar plexus shot a heart shot. Because I remember this guy said it in French. He said a shot to the heart in French. So it's interesting that even in French or different languages, they still use the same expression, or they use the word heart to describe a plexus shot. But you've always talked about, when we talk about Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti was one of the guys that loved to throw that uppercut to the body, and that's how he broke his hand on Ward's hip. Is there a specific trick or something you got to watch out for when you try to throw those uppercuts, especially the right one to the body?
Yeah, the elbow. Keep the see how way Lomachenko keeps his hands out a little farther in front of him, but his elbow's kind of out. And Canelo's excellent at it too. Canelo pins his elbow to his body, and when you'll see somebody go to throw a body shot with Canelo, you'll see him twist towards it, and at the same time, he just brings his arm out ever so slightly, like an inch or so. What that does, by bringing it out away from your body, big chance of uppercutting or punching that elbow bone, and that's the hardest point of your body, your elbow. It's the worst thing to punch is somebody's elbow. So it's one of the reasons why I didn't like going to the body so much, because I ought to end up hitting the guy in the elbow, and this really happens a lot.
Yeah, I love me some body shots.
On people's elbows.
Yeah, love me some body shots, let me tell you. Shout out to Evan Norderas again for his contribution with the super chat. He says 12th round, Lopez almost KO Himlitz. Mention it. I don't know who Himlitz is. I think he's talking about Kambosos. But I think Kambosos got his second win in that tour.
He's talking about Loma.
He's talking about Loma.
All right, so now, okay, so this guy's trolling then. he almost KO'd Lomachenko, yeah. Hey, man, I almost KO'd Lomachenko too, man. But shout out to him for his contribution to the super chat. Hey, listen, the reason why I mentioned those body shots, Jimmy, is because Bradley actually pointed that out. He said the reason why Lomachenko keeps those elbows up is because he wants to strike quicker. He's able to move quicker with those little T-Rex arms of his. And that's the thing. I like what Kambosos was doing. I like that he went to the body consistently, but it seems like it didn't have any effect on Lomachenko. I'm curious though. I saw Kambosos land about as many body shots as Haney did. Why wasn't Kambosos getting any rounds from that the way Haney did?
Because he didn't have American judges.
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, I'm just being honest. He wasn't an American in today's culture, in today's fucking political climate. Mm-hmm. And they weren't going to rob him there. You know what I mean? Plus, everything else was one-sided. I mean, the final punch count wasn't it like 170 something to 36. some crazy disparity like that. It was nuts.
There you go,
But,
man.
yeah.
There you go. So hopefully we get Lomachenko continues to get some big
I
fights.
hope Evan calls in, man. We'll be totally respectful, dude. Nobody takes it personal. But someone's got to explain how that was how he almost knocked him out.
I mean, I don't even try.
I just gotta say, you know what I mean? I'm not even being a dick. I'm just serious. Like, what does that mean? How does someone almost get knocked out? It's like almost getting laid.
By the way, I got to point out, we got Sobers here because the last time I didn't see he was here and he gave me the business. He goes, BDA, I pay you to be on the panel and then you don't even acknowledge me. So we got Sobers here. Sobers, are you there?
Sober.
Oh, shit. He's giving me the silent treatment
Never
now.
sober. Uh-oh.
He's giving me
You
the
guys sound
silent
really low.
chance.
What's up, Sobers?
Sober, what's up, buddy?
Oh, I think he said something about the microphone. Well, anyway.
I can't hear y'all. Give me a second.
Okay. Says he can't hear us. All right, let's go to, Bray. Shout out to Bray for his contribution with the super chat. He says, if Loma fights Stevenson, it would look like Ward versus Kovalev. He will be low-blowing Loma the whole fight like he did versus Conceição. Well, shout out to Bray for his contribution with the super chat. And it brings me to our next point, which is that Shakur Stevenson was complaining, being very vociferous online, talking about how it's insane how they're passing me over, this and that. But first of all, we don't know if he's resigning. So it's also on him whether he wants to be in the top-ranked organization or not and get his shots. Can you hear us now, Sobers?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now.
What's up, man? What's up? I'm talking about now the Shakur Stevenson situation where he's complaining about how he's being passed over. And I'm thinking, well, look, there's this feeling amongst certain fighters out there that if you keep winning and you're undefeated, that somehow makes you the shot caller. The people forget that this is a business. It's show business. You got to show us something. It's entertainment at the end of the day as well. I'm not saying go out there and fight sucking fucking robots or whatever it's called, but try to make it entertaining. Shakur Stevenson has crapped the bed twice. Even one of his best wins against Conceição, he blew the weight and ended up ball-busting Conceição throughout the whole fight. So really, the only performances where he actually looked like he might be a promising pound-for-pound fighter were the Oscar Valdez and Jermell Herring fight. So he's complaining about this. And I'm thinking, look, you can't ball-bust a guy, break the rules, and look like that, and then expect people to want to fight you. It's the same thing we're going to be seeing with Ryan Garcia. Even though he brings a lot of money, you're still going to see some trepidation from certain fighters saying, do I really want to fight this guy? And it's the same thing with Shakur Stevenson. You break the rules, and you're boring on top of that. What do you really bring to the table? In other words, why should Lomachenko fight him? He's got a tough guy in Navarrete in front of him. He could get the Tank Davis fight, which would be for more money and against an undefeated fighter as well, who actually at least brings some knockouts. What do you guys think about Shakur Stevenson? Should he get off Twitter, first of all, as well?
Nobody who wants to fight a guy who doesn't want to engage. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't want to make it like it's hit, don't get hit. Lomachenko does that. Lomachenko is I think he's number 4 in all of boxing of hit, not get hit ratio. And yet, there's no back foot bitch in it. He's right in the fucking kitchen. He's right there, right in front of you. Not running around, not diving at your waist, holding on for dear life. You know, literally tackling isn't a part of his repertoire. So
we're gonna have to get racial here. Shout out to Sobers for putting this up. This again, Shakur Stevenson went on a tirade yesterday on Twitter. And by the way, when I say we got to get racial, we got to bring up the race thing because again, he's the one that said this. This is what Shakur Stevenson said. Floyd told me years ago, Top Rank don't fuck with black fighters. They just use you until they can't use you no more. Tonight was them trying to make statement to me. LOL. All right, first of all, if that's the way it works, like they don't fuck with black fighters, why were they promoting this guy so hard despite his boring fights? Always comparing him to Floyd, comparing him to Pernell Whitaker, always putting up those statistics about how he's the guy that gets hit, one of the guys that gets hit the least, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just goes to show you, whenever things don't go these fighters' way, they always got to bring up racism. You look at Haney, when he fought Kambosos, they call it a masterclass. When other fighters show a masterclass as well, they call it boring. When Navarrete when Shakur Stevenson beat Valdez, they said he was his coming out party, was a masterpiece, masterclass, exhibition of boxing. When Navarrete beats Valdez and beats him up, they call it a Mexican classic, all-out war, back and forth. Mexican Classic. It wasn't even that competitive. So, I mean, if you want to be real about it, if you want to start playing the victim game and start nitpicking, there's no evidence that they're disparaging Afro-Anglo boxers. And if anything, they're being propped up just for being Afro-Anglo and being undefeated and being flashy and being fast.
His whole stable is black. The whole fucking stable is black for the most part. All his young prospects, all the young black talent signed with him. Listen, he said that for two reasons. He said that because he's a fucking idiot, all right? And because race hustling is a commodity right now. You can get things done. But the thing is, Bob, you're not going to see, if that was Lou DiBella, oh shit, I'm going to make that fight, man. I can't be considered a racist. People are worried about being called racist usually because they're racist. Bob doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a shit. You call me racist. You think that's going to motivate me now to make a fight? Like, oh, Floyd told me. Really? You going to go to what Floyd said? Floyd told me. Yeah, then why did you sign with them, you fucking donkey?
But you know what?
If that's the case, nobody else is signing him. He remember that last fight when he absolutely embarrassed the sport, okay? The fact that this kid's talking the way he's talking after that performance is just outrageous. And I've been one of his guys, you know that. I've stuck up for him and talked about his abilities. But this kid's mouth, man, he's just an unlikable cat. And if he comes out with fucking, he's got Bud on one side and Ward on the other, right? That was a statement. He's letting his because he was a free agent after that. What happened? He didn't get offered shit. Nobody offered him. He wasn't even getting nobody even offered money. Bob was offering him. The fact that he's going to bite the hand that feeds him, fuck him. If I was Bob, I definitely wouldn't fucking try to make this kid happy now. Really? Going to pull the race card? You fucking knucklehead. The like Bob said, the people I've made the most money in this sport have been African Americans. Hands down. It's not even a close second. So, fuck out of here with that silly shit.
Wait, what'd you say? That
I thought he was going to say something else besides knucklehead. But I thought they were trying to convince us that Shakur Stevenson was Puerto Rican. BDA, what's up with that?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, this kid, he said he's bipolar. That's what he said. He said, I'm bipolar. One day I want to retire. The next I want to show it. He said he went to a Cardi B concert or something, and he felt like a star too. He's like, I'm thinking, man, maybe you should keep that to yourself, Shakur Stevenson. It's like he went to a Cardi B concert. He knew all the lines, all the lyrics. He was singing along to it. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with liking whatever music you like, but if you're dancing and singing to the lyrics, you're something else. You're in a different category. Because
he has a big wet pussy.
Ah, come on! No, wait a minute. You guys are going.
Oh
too
no,
far.
he said something about that he saw Nicki Minaj or something, and that like he saw how great they were, and he's like, oh, just like her, my haters are not going to tear me down. I'm just going to keep performing above and beyond, like my idol, I guess. This woman.
He sounds like he should be drinking an apple teeny on Chelsea, talking about Madonna and how her last concert was subpar. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, man. But I wanted to say about. It's amazing how some of these people are tone deaf. Now he wants to bring up the race card, and you know what? Though, let's blame Top Rank for this too, because they're the ones that created this guy. They're the ones that brought him up. And may I say, and I pointed this out on Frank Bay's show yesterday. Top Rank, Bob Arum just recently came out, and I know Bob Arum is still has a lot of control over Top Rank, even though he's on the way out. But he's the one that recently came out and said Terence Crawford was still open with working with him, and there's no animosity. And I'm thinking, this guy accused your organization in ESPN of being a racist. So by not pressing the guy or pressing back, I mean, Bob Arum has a lot to say about De La Hoya, about Dana White, about Eddie Hearn, harsh words that I will not repeat on this show because it's a Sunday show. But when Crawford cost him money, and you know how these people are with money. I'm just saying. Crawford cost him money.
Whoa.
He threw him under the bus after the Porter fight, saying, hey, these guys can't get it up for me anymore. I'm leaving. I'm hauling ass. And then he calls him a racist. And even after all that, Bob Arum's still like, yeah, you're my boy. I like you. I mean, come on. It's his fault, too, for enabling this type of behavior. It is what it is. He should have nipped that at the bud. No pun intended, bud. But he should have nipped it at the bud. But still, these guys, I don't know, they get some sort of a... And you know what? Jimmy brought up the great point that Shakur Stevenson, again, they've been filling his head with he's a star, he's a superstar like Madonna and Nicki Minaj and Boy George, and he doesn't understand that that's not the case. So he went out there cruising for a better deal, and he couldn't find it. So now he's pissed off. But I mean, what do you expect when you fight the way you fight? And you know, the other thing is he's being bipolar now. That's the way I look at it. There's a certain bipolarity. That's even a word going on here.
Well, BDA, he got Timothy Bradley on one shoulder and he got Terrence Crawford on the other, just saying they hate you because you black. You remember if you get pulled over by police, you might die. You know what I'm saying? They're in his ear saying shit like that, and he's in this victim bully mentality, dude, where he's being held back and he's also the best. I mean, he's also better. You can't hold him back, but he's also being held down. You know what I mean?
That's a great point. If you want to navigate the harsh waters, the dangerous waters, the heartbreaking waters that can be life, you got to be a realist. That way you navigate those waters better. You don't just go, hey, I'm going to go into the deep waters and when you're not ready. No, you got to know what you're doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like Sobers is saying, they're filling his head up with all this trash about how the only reason they don't like you because you're black. And I mean, come on, it's not the 1920s anymore. The other thing I want to say
giving him headlines. Yeah, Bob was giving him headline fights like by his 9th fight. I mean, Bob fucking moved that kid along. Was giving him actually overexposure. I remember people calling in saying, "What the fuck, is Shakur the only guy fighting there?" So, anyways, I mean to cut you off, BD. What were you saying?
That's all right. Listen, I'm on a rant today, so excuse me too for talking a lot. But it's just because the business of boxing. People go, "Oh, well, why are you even talking about this?" Because it bleeds into the business of boxing. It bleeds into decision making by these guys that they fail to understand how good they actually have it. Jimmy brought up a good point right now. The same reason why Lomachenko was being hated, it's because their top rank moved him too fast. He got title shots that he didn't deserve. Well, Shakur Stevenson was being overhyped too by everybody, by the fans, by his promotional entity, by the media, and it went to his head. And it's interesting because he went out cruising for a deal and he couldn't find it. He's not Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis is actually entertaining. He goes in there and he stops guys. And on top of that, he's got the flash, the hand speed, the athleticism. So that's a double whammy right there. Shakur Stevenson doesn't have that. He has the flash, actually, but, if he would have fought Kambosos, you think he would have done what Lomachenko did yesterday?
No, he would have done the same thing that Devin Haney done. He would have took him to a unanimous 12-round decision, and his face would have been a little marked up, but he might have went down off a balance shot. This kid, Stevenson, doesn't go for it. He couldn't even stop the Marine. What was his name? The old guy, the one at 126.
Jamel Herring.
Jamel Herring, yeah, like that had it. You look at his knockouts. A lot of them are TKOs where the guy doesn't even go down. The referee gets in the way.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like he kind of has help in that sense where they're trying to like make him seem like a bigger puncher than he is. So no, I don't think he would have stopped. I don't think he would have stopped Kambosos, and I think Lomachenko he made Devin Haney look worse. He made him look bad again, by stopping Kambosos because he's a littler guy in there. And I want to say one observation I made about Lomachenko, bro. Because I feel like a lot of people say he was given white privilege or whatever. They treated Lomachenko like fucking the technician, like Deryevchenko, bro. They really brought him in there to be opponent against Americans. He was never given the benefit of the doubt in any fights. He was never given the opportunity other than to lose. Even in his close fights, they're not giving him the benefit of the doubt. They're not giving him the close rounds. It was close against Salido. He still lost. It was close against Teofimo. Still lost. It wasn't close against Haney, and he still lost. So I feel like with this guy, I don't know. Like, he's only ever been given the opportunity to lose. And, yeah, dude, like, he reminds me of Deryevchenko, dude. He gets really disrespected when he's low-key boxing royalty. Like,
Great point.
Great point. Hey, listen, 3 biggest robberies in Vegas recently. Kovalev against Wood, Triple G against Canelo in the first fight, and fucking Lomachenko and Haney. I mean, when I say robberies, in big championship fights, it's been the white guy who's been robbed every time. So, and the person pushing that the most is, Deontay Wilder with the white privilege. That's why he's always talking about black fighters have to pick what side they're on because it's a war.
Well, it's interesting because Never Sobers brought up that point about how Lomachenko was never actually giving anything other than a chance to lose. That's absolutely true. And people complain about that. He got a title shot way too early. And guess what? When he got that shot against Gary Russell Jr., the second one, he lived up to it. So why are you complaining about? He dared to be great. Yeah, he was giving a bit of a quick shot in there. But he took it and he made it, instead of saying, whoa, wait, this guy accomplished something that's not, they're complaining about him. So in other words, it goes back to what Jimmy said. We're trying to figure out, oh my God, why would people go after him? We know why. Because he's a white-skinned guy. But he's not even a white guy. Because again, people have to get this into their heads. White, black, brown, whatever. that's a great way of oversimplifying things and creating division. Because the reality is, Africans are black. They don't consider themselves brethren with Afro-Anglos. In fact, they look down on Afro-Anglos. There's an African guy I used to know. He always used to make fun of that. He's like, oh, N-word this, N-word that. That's how they talk. So I'm thinking, whoa, that there's an animosity there. Jamaicans don't like Afro-Anglos. So then you get the white people too. An Ukrainian and a British guy, they don't consider themselves the same. The Ukrainians are a different thing. They're Slavs. The British, they're Anglo-Saxons. You think they look at each other with some sort of brethren, like, hey, fellow white guy. That's not how it works, man. But people keep spewing that to try to oversimplify things. And, you're running into a wall is all I'm saying. But back to the Shakur Stevenson thing. Yeah, so he's complaining about it. Tank Davis too. Hey, Jimmy, you're always up on this. Didn't Tank Davis say something too yesterday? Or Sobers too? I don't know if you guys caught that. Apparently he deleted some comments.
Oh, what he was saying that when he was saying that Lomachenko's next and I'll beat him, like they were bringing those tweets that they brought up on the broadcast, he deleted afterwards. You know what I mean? So
Of course.
he's half-ass even still challenging him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
Jeez,
like,
Luis.
Lomachenko said it in 2019, as clear as me, and every fucking reporter in the post press conference just burst out laughing because they all knew it was
2017, Jimmy. 2017.
Was it 2017? He said that. Oh my god, when he said
That's when it started.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It started 20, but in 2019, when because this was when first they had that falling out. So Floyd and Tank had a falling out. So Floyd tried to make the fight out of spite to because he wanted to see him lose. Even Bob said that. But when they made up, he pulled he put a squash on it. But Lomachenko finally had enough of it, and he said it. He said, "Listen, Tank Davis is the toughest fighter on Twitter," and that's what it comes down to.
Well, he's also a bad driver. But listen, I wanted to say too that.
But he cares about pregnant women.
Yeah, well, there you go. I want to say something about the Tank Davis Frank Martin fight. I remember 2021. I was one of the few people that was sort of looking forward to Tank Davis versus Barrios. And I remember none of you guys none of the regulars on the panel were with me on that one. But I was intrigued. I was like, hey, I want to see what happens when he fights a taller guy. And Tank Davis ended up screwing me over because then it turned out that he had a rehydration clause on him. So I'm hesitant to say that I'm okay with the Frank Martin fight. I mean, to me, it's not a bad fight. It's not a horrendous fight. It could be an okay fight. But I just hope, I'm crossing my fingers here, that Tank Davis, that there's no news that comes out that he had a rehydration clause or that he, I don't know, he fucking broke one of Frank Martin's fingers or something. I don't know, something like that, man. Because I think I'm one of the few people that's saying, hey, it's a decent fight. I'm not angry over it. Will I buy it? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not a bad fight. But like the fact that it's on pay-per-view, yeah, that's what makes the onion in the ointment, as it were. But hey, that's all I want to say about that. We're going to be opening the phone line soon, but fellas, please hit the like. We're at, where are we at with the likes? I got to go back here. We're at 82 likes, 84. It's disgusting. 16 likes, guys. Come on, 16 people hit that like, and we're on our way to continuing the show and doing more shows later on this week. Otherwise, we're not going to do any shows. In fact, right now, no more show here. We're at, 15 people hit the like. We get to 100. Until then, guess what?
Stop, I'm going back to...
No music, no. I'm going back to the Manual of Human Anatomy, Volume 3, which is Angiology, the Peripheral Nervous System, and Sense Organs. Sorry, guys, you twisted my arm. Now I got to do it. Lesser pulmonary circulation enriches the blood with oxygen in the lungs. The process begins in the right ventricle. The pulmonary trunk arises from the right ventricle and soon branches in two pulmonary arteries for each lung, where further breaches.
Oh, this is a family show, BDA. What are you talking about?
No. It is human anatomy. We can get away with it. In the capillary networks, the blood yields carbon dioxide in exchange for a new supply of oxygen, pulmonary respiration. The oxidized blood from the capillaries continues to form 4 pulmonary veins, 2 veins per lung, drain into the left atrium of the heart. Where we are with the likes? All right, 106 likes. There you go. Thank you guys. See, in less than 5 seconds, in less than 5 seconds, 15 people, more than 15 people hit the like. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Please don't make me go back to the Manual of Anatomy. All right. Shout out to everybody there. We're gonna be opening up the phone line soon. What else you guys want to say about the Lomachenko thing? Because again, we got the trifecta: Shakur Stevenson, Navarrete, Lomachenko.
I would say the 135 division is heating up. I was looking at the box rank champions, and right now, so assume Navarrete wins his fight. The champions are going to be Loma, Nava, Davis, and Stevenson, and three of those guys are all within the same company, so we could see a fight. And then PBC they're starting to branch out. Maybe when those three guys have fought, and Davis will fight the winner, the last one. You know what I mean? When they're all unified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
So we could maybe see some big fights.
I mean, we've got, according to Ring Magazine's updated rankings, Lomachenko is in the number 1 spot, Davis number 2, Camarón Cepeda number 3, Shakur Stevenson number 4, Frank Martin number 5, Murataya number 6. But again, the one that Navarrete is not even in there, even though he's moved up now. This Baranchi guy, I gotta watch more of him because he does fight a lot like Lomachenko. He's a southpaw too. I gotta do more watching. What's that?
I was saying, really? I hadn't seen him fight before. If he fights like Lomachenko, we should watch him. I'll watch him.
Yeah, he's not as fast or as flashy, but he's got the fundamentals down, so could be trouble for old Navarrete. By the way, shout out to Evan Orderas for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, why would Loma fight Tio before he had a belt? Same thing applies for Tio now that he had all the belts. Well, it's not the same thing, Evan. He didn't fight a guy in Teofimo Lopez because he was a prospect. Lomachenko lost. Does that make him a prospect all of a sudden? He's still one of the top guys. That's why there should have been a rematch. This guy's still at it, by the way. Amazing. Take a break, Evan. You can call in, by the way. You don't have to keep giving super chats. I'm going to be opening up the phone lines right now, so you guys can call in, give us your thoughts. And by the way, maybe we should start taking down predictions already for Fury versus Usyk, because that's a fight that I'm trying to etch it out in my mind, sketch it out how it's going to look. I usually have a good ability of doing it. For some reason, I can't visualize Usyk and Fury in the ring because I don't know how they're going to look size-wise. What are you guys expecting so far? Early predictions or early outlooks, whatever.
I predict. I'm predicting Usyk by. I think he's going to stop him.
Whoa.
Yep.
Interesting.
I think he's going to fucking catch him. I think, well, depends on the condition and Fury's in, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stops him.
Interesting.
By the way, I call the round, man. Do I get a Snickers bar or something? I call the round on Inoue on that one. On the Inoue Neri fight, I actually called round 6.
You get something better and far healthier than a Snickers bar. You get my respect. How about that?
There you go.
There you go. All right, let's talk about this then. While the phone lines are opening, Canelo versus Munguia. Apparently, Rick Glacier is reporting, and again, I don't know how he got the numbers because this time it's DAZN. It's not a TV network, so I don't know how he got the numbers. But he claims it did about a little bit over 500,000 pay-per-view buys, which is underwhelming. Underwhelming for Canelo against a fellow undefeated Mexican. So my thing is, what is the veracity of the numbers? And let's go with the numbers. I'm actually hoping that they're true. I'm actually hoping that it did perform or that underperformed, because this now finally means that Canelo might have to be, in a position where he says, okay, no more wasting time. I got to fight Benavidez. Because I said it before we talked about it before this fight. We were talking about pay-per-view business, pay-per-views, blah, blah, blah. And we said when Mayweather and Pacquiao, everybody wanted them to fight each other. And there were, Mayweather was fighting Maidana, Pacquiao was fighting Algieri and Bradley for a second time. That the pay-per-view numbers were underwhelming. And they finally came together at the end of the 2014 and said, okay, now we got to fight. We can't milk this anymore. I think that's what's happening with Canelo. With this economy, because don't forget, there were other pay-per-views too. Haney versus Garcia was pay-per-view. Wasn't there another pay-per-view before that? And then on top of it, you got more pay-per-views coming up. You got Usyk Fury, you got Frank Martin, you got Crawford in August. Those are pay-per-views. People aren't as quick now to just give out $80-$90 for a pay-per-view. So guys, what do you think about these numbers? A, the veracity, and B, is it a good thing that we're seeing now people demanding the best to fight the best?
I'm a little confused how they got the numbers so fast for this fight, and they took him like a month to get him for the Haney and Garcia fight when they're kind of close. But yeah, I expected the numbers to be a little bit higher, for like two Mexicans. But I guess the writings on the wall, people knew that Canelo was going to beat him, and yeah, I guess I don't know. The Benavidez fight is really on his ass. And what I think Canelo is doing is I think he's kind of trolling everybody. I think everyone's like breathing down his neck about it, and he doesn't want to be rushed into it. He doesn't want to feel like he's being forced into anything because felt like he's been forced into other fights. So he's just telling everybody, yeah, I'll do it. He's doing it on his time, right? But the checks are gonna get a little bit smaller, and he might not. He might have to stop being so stubborn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point because people fail to understand that. People go, well, why isn't Canelo calling him out? Because he knows he's the golden goose, and that if this is how these guys think, by the way. I'm not saying it's correct, but in this business world, especially in boxing, they think, hey, if I call out the other guy, he's going to think I need him, and he's going to use that as leverage in negotiations. That's the way these guys think. Again, I don't like it. That's why I don't get involved in this business world. I always let Rafael Shapiro handle my endeavors. But that's the way these people think. So that's why he's not calling him out. And the Benavidez side either. I mean, people focus too much on what each guy says. Oh, Canelo says 200 million. Benavidez said this, that. But then they fail to focus on the actual actions, which is Benavidez hasn't enforced his mandatory. He's moving up to 175. His promoter makes out these fake offers, and then he raises them on Twitter. So all the actions speak louder than words. That's what I'm focusing on. But again, hopefully now they realized that the Munguia fight, which they thought was going to do better, that type of money isn't there anymore right now in boxing. It's either, you know what? Now I'm thinking whether Canelo Crawford would even do as well as they think. Because people coming into this Canelo Munguia fight, maybe the people did say, hey, maybe most people are thinking, this is a mismatch. Munguia ain't gonna do anything. Why should we pay for it? I don't know. It's hard to.
I don't know. There's this weird delusion with Crawford BDA because Munguia would probably beat the brakes off of Crawford, right? But I'm telling you, people are convinced that Crawford will knock out Canelo, dude. I think that fight would sell pretty well. There's a lot of Americans who hitched their wagon to the back of Crawford's ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's also It's also a reflection of the economy too right now, Mr. BDA. It's crazy. Rent, heat. You know what I mean? Everything is just through the roof. Food, and that's one of those. A pay-per-view, that's a luxury item. Those are the first things that are cut from people's budgets.
Absolutely, especially people with families. Yeah, you're right.
When you start pumping them out left and right, and you start to choose which pay-per-view you want. I mean, I'm not going to buy all those pay-per-views. I can afford it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to support a fight that doesn't deserve it. For that Frank Martin Davis fight should not be a pay-per-view. It's not warranted. The kid was a prospect who looked horrible his last time out.
Yeah, that's the thing though, because he's a number 5 guy according to Ring Magazine in the lightweight division, but it's difficult to get excited for when he looked bad against Arturium or whatever his name was in his last fight. I'm still looking forward to it in a way. I'm pretty sure come fight night I'm going to break and I'm going to say I'll buy it. Because also, I mean, it's for the channel too. I mean, I have to stay up on all these fights and I don't feel comfortable watching them on the internet. And then on top of that, I remember I used to watch them because we didn't have Showtime in the 2000s here in Canada. There was no way to watch Showtime fights for a while. So I had to watch them on the internet in circa 2006, 2007. And, the ads, you have to really be up to date with your antivirus. I hate to taking those type of risks. So, but it's true by everything Jimmy's saying. And then on top of it, like somebody said in the chat, the bad decisions too, the clinching, the bending of the rules. Hey, clinching, it's part of boxing, guys. No, it's not. Yeah, it's part of boxing. It's like cheating's part of boxing. Are you okay with that? You know what I mean? It's are you okay with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney playing around with weight and all that? I mean, come on. We got to put our foot down and say we want fights on the level. That way they're going to be more competitive, i.e. more exciting or at least more interesting. And then we'll pay for them. Until then, mismatches, breaking of the rules, A-side advantages, A-side tactics, back foot bitching, ass style. Nah, this hurts boxing too in the long run, and people are starting to see it now. Again, I can't prove it definitively. I don't have the smoking gun for it, but I got my finger on the pulse of America and the boxing world. Let me tell you, Mr. BDA knows a couple of things, and I know one thing: people are getting tired of this type of stuff. By the way, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open, people. The phone lines are open. Make sure to call in. Give us your thoughts on what happened yesterday. The whole drama about the lightweights now. Who's going to get whom? Who gets first dibs at Lomachenko? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe even if you want to talk a little bit about the pay-per-view numbers for Canelo. Whatever you want to talk about. And we got a phone call here right now. Let me see if it's working out here. Hold on a second. Let's go to 386. 386. You're on the air. 386. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, EA? Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's
Action
doing well.
Jackson.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I wanted to break down this little bit. So Lomachenko, in my opinion, I saw highlights of the fight. I didn't see the whole thing. But it looked like he did pretty well and stopped him with a body shot. So in my opinion, Lomachenko, you know, he had that close fight with Lopez, you know, and I think if his shoulder was healthy, it could have probably gone either way. And in reality, Loma beat the shit out of Haney, and he just beat the shit out of Kambosos. So he pretty much, and Lopez never gave him that rematch, you know. So he pretty much cleaned out the whole division.
First of all, you keep saying my opinion, my opinion. Your opinion means jack around here because you didn't even watch the fight. You didn't even watch the fight, so I don't know. No,
His name is Jackson.
I watched most of the fight.
All right. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, this guy has been besmirched. But what did you think of the performance? Were you surprised? Were you going into the fight? Were you thinking or wondering, hey, how much does Loma have left?
I was, because I think somebody mentioned he was questioning about, you know, maybe hanging it up. And I remember him saying something about that before the Jermaine Ortiz fight. He was like, or maybe it was after that fight, he was like, yeah, I'm trying to look forward to something in life that's besides boxing. And then when I heard, you know, that he was thinking about hanging it up too, it's like, damn. But after last night, I saw the first, 7 rounds, and he looked real good. And I was like, yeah, he's back. He didn't go anywhere. And then B-Day, you know, I'm just saying in my opinion, because he beat the shit out of Haney. Like, he shut Haney out. He didn't lose that fight. You know, that's why I mean, in my opinion.
Well, hold on. Recognize you're saying something. Recognize. What are you trying to say?
No, I was just saying, I wouldn't say he beat the shit out of Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia did that, but he definitely beat Haney.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. But he didn't Ryan Garcia Haney, but I think he pieced Haney up pretty good, and I think it was a clear and dominant victory against Haney. But if he could ever got that Lopez Sr. No, I was going to say, too bad Loma didn't have, Lopez Sr. in his corner, you know, yelling at him, get Kambosos out of there. Maybe he would have done a little better, you know.
Maybe. You never know, man. You never know. All right, well, listen, Action Jackson.
Remember that?
No, I mean, I think he said, what was he said? Knock him out already. What the
He was like, why isn't he out of there?
Right. Well, I
and
can't
then he
curse.
Got dropped, man. No, that was just pretty funny.
Yeah, I can't curse today. It's Sunday, so I can't do it justice. But listen, Action Jackson, always good to hear from you, man. And thank you for your call, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, guys. Have a good one.
You too, man. There's Action Jackson. I can smell the sand through the phone. This guy was just out there surfing over there in sunny Florida. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 504. 504, you're on the air. 504. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, 504?
Hey, so, man, as far as Loma's performance, I thought he looked great, especially for, a 36-year-old. I thought, you know, like Jimmy had brought up earlier, he's 100% right. I think Kambosos is he's a counter-puncher in the pocket. And, you know, that's why when Teo was rushing in there and he got knocked down, that really, messed Teo up, in my opinion, because I think Teo is also a counter-puncher, once you at a high level. And that's when Loma was coming forward at him because he's so, such a big 135-pounder at the time, and because he has that power and he can counter-punch very well, Loma was very cautious, even in the Teo fight, even though he had his success late, and with the injury and stuff. But that's why I feel like, with Teo and Kambosos, that went all wrong, because now you got Teo coming forward who isn't the best, like this diversified offensive front foot fighter, like more like a Lomachenko. Like, no. And Kambosos was picking him apart in the mid range and stuff like that, in the pocket. But anyway, I think for Kambosos, like Jimmy has said, Loma is all wrong. For Kambosos, it's just because you can't. He's so difficult to counter in the pocket. He's so difficult, like to let Loma stand in front of you, and you're gonna let him throw punches at you, and you're gonna try to like time him type of thing, and or catch him. Like, you're gonna have a long night, and that's what it ended up being for Kambosos. So I thought it was great. I think Loma is, and I'm a black guy. Not that it matters, but I think Loma is one of the best, fighters of this generation. I think. Like talent, I don't think we're going to be able to see something like him for a long time. And I'm really excited because Tank did say that he's going to fight him. That's Tank talking, on Twitter, whatever. But, I think Tank might think at this time, if there ever was a time, like this might be the sweet time to fight him because he's older type of thing. He doesn't look like he has the power and he's slowing down, la, la, la. So, but I think, man, and I want to know what you guys think. I think that Loma could potentially give Tank some problems because Tank likes to, we've seen Tank get outboxed in some of these rounds, in some of these fights, even with Rolly, even with, not so much Ryan, but, getting pressured and people being able to land shots. But these guys get overly aggressive, and Tank just, watches and reads, and then he hits you with a devastating counter shot, you know what I mean, and he knocks you out. Like, that's how this goes. But for Loma, he's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to just wait around and wait for Loma to just repeat the same punch over and over again, and then he's going to knock him out. Like, that's not going to happen. He's going to have to fight him for real. Defensively and offensively, he's going to have to fight. And so I just think it's a whole nother level than the opponents that he's been fighting. And even at 36, like, I think Loma can give him a challenge. And if he wins that fight, Loma's whole career will be vindicated if he beats Tank.
Well, yeah, he's got a long way to go for that one, let me tell you. But listen, we're going to keep this. You brought up some great points. We're going to discuss that. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I love the channel. I just want to hear what you guys think about all that stuff.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to be discussing your points off the call here, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, got you.
All right, thank you for calling in. Right. Yeah, he brings up can I just say he brings up a good point about the Tank Davis, the pace he fights at, because he likes to, he's falling into the pattern now of running around the ring, how can I say this? When he gets on the defensive, he doesn't really counter all that much. It's one punch at a time, but that's his game now. He knows he can get the guys out of there with one shot, or at least the guys he's been fighting. So he moves around the ring, makes himself very difficult to hit, especially because he's a shorter guy. So he gets low, it's even more difficult to hit him. And then he catches guys when they make a mistake, i.e. the Ryan Garcia fight. But even Ryan Garcia had success in there. We saw what happened with Isaac Cruz, had a nice tight guard, was able to nullify and snuff and smother a lot of his counters. Lomachenko has got a pretty good tight guard. And then on top of that, he throws a wider variety of offense and shots than Cruz. So is it a clear-cut issue that Lomachenko would beat him, or at this point, because of his age and the fact that Tank Davis is a hard puncher and he is very quick with his hands, that he could potentially get Loma out of there?
I think he would have to knock him, like, realistically, right? If this fight was scored if fights were scored the way they're supposed to, realistically, Tank would have to knock him out. If he can't knock, hurt him that one time, keep him hurt the whole fight. But if it turns into a boxing fight, bro, that's Lomachenko. He wins that fight pretty easy too. Still at 36.
Tank, that's Tank's whole game. Just look the way he knocked out Rolly. Rolly was winning rounds. It took Rolly to throw the same punch 3 times literally in a row. He went across the ring throwing that 3, and that's what Tank does. He just waits for you and he times you, and he gets you, because you still do the same habits, and he just catches you on your habits. He couldn't do that with Isaac Cruz because he comes in short, but he cannot fight off his back foot. He steps to the side and catches you with big shots because he kind of sets little traps, but he's not going to do that with Lomachenko. Kind of same thing with Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux was an excellent boxer, excellent with setting traps. Lomachenko made him quit. You know what I mean? Even at 36 years old, he would not be able to catch. He would have to catch him with a fucking lucky shot because he's not going to time him. He's not going to set a trap. He would end up turning his back on him like he did Fucking for Christ's sakes, when Garcia was pressuring him, you cannot fucking be hand-fed soft competition for a decade and then think you're gonna fight Lomachenko and beat him.
That's why he deleted that tweet, Jimmy.
Exactly.
So I would say yeah, he deleted that tweet talking about he's next. No, he's not. So with Davis, dude, he draws a lot of comparisons to Canelo with his style, but I really think he's closer to Deontay Wilder, dude. He goes in there, he loses rounds, he finds his shot, he hurts the guy, he gets him out of there. His power bails him out. It's been like that way for a couple fights now. Maybe it wasn't like that once upon a time. You know, when he beat Pedraza, that's what everybody says. You know, he looked good right there, but I mean, it seems like it's been downhill from there. He comes
forward. I mean, Canelo comes forward. The comparison is stupid. It's just dumb. Like, it's just because he's Tank and he's
short and he hits hard, bro.
So I guess that's the whole thing. But it's like stylistically, nah. Like, Canelo's coming forward versus big dudes. You are just looking for like this sniper shot. You know, basically one punch at a time.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna clarify there. Help out. When Solvers is saying that that the approach is Deontay Wilderish, he's not saying that Wilder and Tank are on the same level of skill. Because obviously Tank Davis, at least Tank Davis has better fundamentals with his footwork, with his defense, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But what he means by that is, again, what he said. Just to reiterate what he said, it's that his power is bailing him out. He's doing very little and getting guys out of there. But some people actually, again, this is why I think some people overrate Tank Davis, because they seem to be under the impression that, oh, well, there you go. He's getting knockouts by doing very little. Therefore, if he did more, he'd be unstoppable. But I don't think people... My impression of watching Tank Davis now for about 8 years is that this is the best he can do.
Because he can do more, BDA.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because when you watch... Real quick. When you watch the Barrios fight... He dropped Barrios twice, I believe, and it was still a close fight. Mayweather had to run over to the corner and say, hey, listen, it's a close fight. You better get this guy out of there. And that was a dehydrated Mario Barrios who's not even that good. And even then, if you look at the punch stats from Tank Davis, he was about 360 shots or 400, something like that. I think it was a career high. And against Isa Cruz, I thought he beat Isa Cruz, by the way, but it was very close. And again, he edged it. He didn't dominate the guy. He didn't school him. He edged it against Isa Cruz. So again, just goes to our point is that there's no afterburners with Tank Davis. There's no extra gas tank there where he can turn it up and be aggressive and fight like David Benavidez, for example, or Beterbiev. This is what you're seeing from Tank Davis. That's his game. And that's why a lot of us have felt that if he fought Haney or Shakur Stevenson, you'd have to wonder if he can't catch him, what's he going to do? What's plan B? He's going to be able to walk him down?
Don't think so. I don't think he'd be able to catch him. They're too tall. They're too long for him. I would say the Lomachenko that got in the ring with Kambosos last night. I think that guy would whoop Tank Davis's ass still. And the only thing you could really say for Davis, like Jim was saying, that Lomachenko comes in, he comes forward. He's probably gonna get hit with the shot because just the way he fights, because he's fighting, he's not running. So if you hope that Davis knocks him out in one punch, I guess that's what you're going for. But I don't know. Lomachenko's been in there. He's a professional. He's been hurt. He's been hit hard. I don't think this dude would knock him out just yet. That's why he deleted that tweet, because just not yet. Wait until he's 38.
You're probably right, bro. I think you're right. I think he said, "Oh shit, how old is he?" They're like 36. They're like, "Oh, Floyd said 40,
bro."
Floyd said 40. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess I think. Realistically, like I can't see him outpointing. How do you outpoint Lomachenko with his style when he's just looking for that one big shot to knock you out? You make a mistake and he knocks you out.
There's a way to beat Lomachenko. I mean, he's been beaten, even though again there's asterisks next to the losses, but there is a way to beat him. But again, does Tank Davis have the wherewithal, the infrastructure to get it done? That remains to be seen. By the way, remind me to read two super chats after this, but I gotta get to a phone call here. And by the way, don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out, right, fellas? Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 510. 510, you're in the air. 510, what's on your mind?
What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Recognize? Shout out to Pete. Shout out to Boxing Chief. And shout out to Action Jackson. That's another guy that I enjoy his insights, generally speaking, when he calls in. With the Lomachenko fight, I just wanted to say this. I mean, that was like textbook Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko had the initiative pretty much the whole fight. Kambosos is just too limited of a fighter. Even with his hand speed, I mean, he's just one of those guys also that uses decides not to use his physical assets as a way to win the fight. You know, like with his hand speed, he could probably set something up, or he can force some of the exchanges because he's faster, mainly with his straight punches. But it is what it is. I'm not that impressed with the fight. You know, I think this is probably one of Lomachenko's weaker fights. Kambosos was an easy win. It was great how he finished him though, so that was good. It was fairly positive, but other than that, you know, good for Lomachenko. I would want to see him fight Navarrete, Cepeda, somebody other than, you know, Tank or Davis, or Tank and Stevenson. I think they're both they don't deserve the fight. So, you know, I think if I had the choice to tell Lomachenko, hey, don't fight these dudes, man, they don't deserve it. That's it. Fuck these motherfuckers. Like, especially Tank, with him being like, you know, an overt cherry picker. I think that's a disgraceful way of moving your career. So fuck that bullshit. You know, I'm tired of it. He should just deny the fight and then just fight Navarrete at least, or fight any of the other Mexicans. You know, and
what?
That's pretty much it with that. And what?
You're pretty chill today, bro. You on your meds?
Come on, man. Someone just throws shots, bro.
No,
Come on.
just pretty straightforward because, you know, I'm the most censored person here, man. It is what it is. What do you want me to do about it? I'm just thinking strictly of the fight, you know, because I do enjoy when Lomachenko, unlike when you speak, I enjoy when Lomachenko performs. So I'm still critical of his past fights, though. Like, for me personally, like when Devin Haney, when he fought Haney. I still take you know, Lomachenko lost some stock in my book. He was landing too much to the body, and Lomachenko is smart enough to like evade it. So I guess, you know, I have a unpopular opinion when it comes to that. I think he shouldn't have let Devin Haney get off on him, but it is what it is. But yeah, great performance. I'm not overhyping the fight too much because, again, this is Kambosos. He's a C-level fighter at best. He's too limited. I don't think he'll go anywhere. I mean, he's a gatekeeper, so hopefully he has some fights. He could fight practically anybody there, but he's too limited, man. So, but that's it. I gotta go. So, for Canelo, shout out to all the Canelo critical people. You know, the people that actually want to see boxing get better. Shout out to you. That's it.
All right, that was booty juice right there, and we got
wow.
never Silvers has to get a dig in there. I mean, I can just picture Never Silvers just, you know, rubbing his hands, going, "Come on, come at me." And then he didn't come at me, so I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll take the first shot." Then. All right, good for Booty Juice to being. I think it's because it's Mother's Day. Maybe that's why he said a little more. Although he was subdued last week too, so I don't know.
He's on his meds, bro. He's got his prescription. He's taking them. It's good, bro. It's good to see, man.
Come on. Shout out to people in the super chat as well. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "Homeless beard Loma beats Shakwisha and Spank." Yeah, that's true. Hey, what about that beard? Usually they make you. I mean, shouldn't that beard be shaved? Usually commissions ask for the beard to be shaved, or I guess it was at appropriate levels. I don't know, but he did have that. This new Loma with that homeless beard. You're right, man. Yeah. He's looking.
It's a little bit harder.
Maybe that's what it is, huh? It gives him power. Shout out to Evan Orderas for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Teo versus Tank. Your thoughts?" You know what? That's a fight that.
Damn, that's a good one.
That's
Maybe
a fight that doesn't
Teo.
get talked a lot about because, you know, Tank Davis is considered a lightweight.
No. I will go Tank.
Really? You would beat Tank?
Yeah. I think because the thing is that Teo doesn't give in. When he's coming forward, he's kind of like beatable, you know. And then Tank, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Maybe I give the slight edge to Tank right now.
I could give an edge to Tank, bro, because I mean, watching that Sandor Martin fight with Teofimo, like you're saying, recognize you can trick him, bro. You can trick him and coming forward. His dad's gonna be right there. Knock him out already. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna rush him and shit, and he's gonna be like, "I gotta do it for my dad," and he'll just come in flying in, bro. He flying into the left hand, bro, and if fucking what's his name, like Sandor Martin dropped him, bro, Davis can hurt him.
Yeah, that's a good point about because I understand that side of the coin. It's you guys are completely correct. Lopez doesn't like to be the first guy to make the first move, to be the aggressor. He's a natural counterpuncher, and so and like I mentioned earlier, Davis, when he gets on that defensive mode, he's very difficult to hit. So with different judges, I thought Sandor Martin beat Lopez, and with different judges, they give it to Tank Davis maybe. However, the flip side to that coin is Tank Davis hasn't really fought any big punchers. The biggest puncher he's fought so far is a Cruz, maybe. He's more of a guy that overwhelms you. And again, when he could knock out Cabron Cabrera, so that made me wonder, all right, how hard does he really hit? And Mario Barrios with that straight right. Lopez is a bigger puncher, and he can crack with both hands. So I'm wondering how he would handle that boxing fight. I don't know, but you guys are right, though. The Sandor Martin and the Ortiz fight shows that beyond the shadow of a doubt, Lopez doesn't like making the first move. And Tank Davis, he does have very good defense when he's on the back foot. So, difficult fight.
I would say this, though, BDA, though, if Teofimo can have, let's see, like a significant speed advantage over Davis, it's over with. He won't win one round. He won't touch him. Yeah, if you can see that left hand coming, dude, that's the easy fight for. He'll school him like he did Josh Taylor. I could see him doing that as well. You know what I mean? With this guy, one of them is taking hard fights and they're pushing their skills to the limit. The other one has been regressing ever since Pedraza.
That's an excellent point because Teofimo Lopez, he looked bad against Sandor Martin, blah blah blah, but he's fighting them, and maybe he's not improving, maybe he's, I don't know, but the point is, like you said, his skills are at a certain level. They're staying sharp. Whereas Tank Davis, fighting a featherweight in Hector Luis Garcia, fighting a dehydrated Ryan Garcia. It's not fighting Frank Martin now. Who the reason why I'm interested in the Frank Martin fight is because Frank Martin is quick, he is mobile, he's a fellow southpaw. So there's a saying in boxing that southpaws don't like fighting southpaws either. You know what I mean? So there's that problem right there for both guys.
He hasn't improved.
But that's what I'm saying. But Frank Martin, he has a hump in front of him. The fuck? He has a hump in front of him, Frank Martin. That he doesn't get over.
I'm trying to do my Baltimore accent.
Yeah, Baltimore accent. He hasn't improved, though, but he hasn't improved.
He hasn't improved yet.
We don't talk. We do what we do. We don't talk. We do what we do. But Frank Martin has a hump in front of him where he, like I said, in that Horovashian fight, or whatever the guy's name was, the Armenian, you could tell that Frank Martin was trying to be the cute guy, that slickster that beat what's his name? Jimenez. Well, actually, he stopped Jimenez, but that he outboxed Rivera, or whatever his name was. And he wasn't working out. What he had to do in that fight, he had to fight in the pocket, he had to fight in the trenches and push the other guy, take some shots to give some shots, because he was hurting him. He hurt him in the 6th round and dropped him in the 12th. But instead, every round in between, he was trying to be the slickster, moving around the ring, and sometimes that shit doesn't work. Ask Oshaki Foster how well fighting on the back foot worked against Rocky Hernandez. He wasn't working out, especially when the referee told him, hey, stop clinching, no ass tactics here in Mexico. He actually had to fight in the trenches, and what happened? He stopped Rocky Hernandez. Yeah, he almost got stopped, but the judges had him behind. So it's the same thing with Frank Martin. He's going to go in there against Tank Davis, and that the judge is going to have Tank Davis ahead 4-0 right off the bat. So I'm not saying go in there and slug it out with Tank Davis. Obviously, that's dumb because then you run into something big like we were talking about earlier. But he's got to fight with a little panache, with a little oomph, put some mustard in those shots. Yeah, I don't know if he outboxes Tank Davis. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise us. But Frank Martin has that hump. Whereas Teofimo Lopez, yeah, he's a lot of things mentally, but at least he's pulled off big wins in his career. Don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out. Shout out to the Quags for reestablishing his membership program. Shout out to the Quags who says, I don't think it was a weak fight. To me, Loma turned back the clock and made Kambosos look stupid. Well, yeah, I mean, there's something to be said. Let's not Lomachenko was expected to do this because let's face the fact, Kambosos in his biggest fights against Haney, he got thoroughly outboxed. I thought he lost the Maxi Hughes fight. So at this point, really, if Lomachenko wanted to differentiate himself, he actually had to do what he did last night. So I give him credit for that. But it's almost like the Crawford-Porter fight where people go, some people had Crawford pound for pound because he stopped Porter. But at the end of the day, he beat a guy that already had losses on his record. It wasn't like he he wasn't dominating Sean Porter. It was a very Tank Davis-like performance where eventually he just caught him and stopped him. So it's the same thing here with Lomachenko. We're giving him credit for stopping the guy, but let's not make it out to be like it was the biggest win. I don't think anybody's saying that. What we're saying is,
well, what I would give him credit for, like, look at the common opponents that, like, they all fought each other, right?
Right.
Haney, Tio, except Haney and Tio, but Haney fought Kambosos and Lomachenko. Lomachenko just fought Kambosos, who also fought Tio. So he and Kambosos fought all those guys. Who did better? Like, who dominated the most? And that's obvious, right?
Well,
Lomachenko.
recognize, like I said earlier, one guy beat Kambosos by clinching a lot, dipping below the waist, despite a size advantage, and that's how they fought. Lomachenko, size disadvantage, age disadvantage. He won virtually every round and then ended up stopping the guy. So it's clear that one guy operates on one level and everybody else has to do other things just to stay in competition with Lomachenko. That's the way it seems like to me. Now, again, does Lomachenko beat all these guys? But you know what? The previous Super Chat guy, Evanor, he brought up Lopez versus Tank Davis. I'm curious too, believe it or not, even though it would be a boring fight, I'm curious to see how Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis would look. Because look,
that would be.
Book,
I mean,
but just real quick, the book is out. The book is out on Shakur Stevenson. He doesn't like getting hit. Now I know I gotta explain this every time I say it. When people say, "Yeah, but BDA, nobody likes getting hit," you'd be surprised at how some guys don't mind getting hit. Is what we're saying, whereas others react as if one glancing shot is gonna knock him out. That's the way Shakur Stevenson fights. And if he was fighting that way against Nakatila and against De Los Santos, I have to wonder if he would fight the same way against Tank Davis.
Yeah.
Even worse, terrified.
Tank will beat him because he'll get, at some point of the fight, he'll get hit and he'll just get on his bicycle. But one thing that he won't have is the political privilege against Tank. And that's going to end up costing them. It'll be one of those situations where they're like, listen, son, and I truly believe this happens. Listen, son, you're going to have to earn that victory today. There ain't nothing we could do about that. He's got peoples too, So you're going to have to earn it. He'll get cracked with something. He'll get on his bicycle because he doesn't want to get knocked out. He'll lose the fight on the scorecards. He'll complain, I landed these punches, and it'll be like, bro, you ran. That's it. So fight's over. You lost the fight.
Yeah, because I was saying it earlier, when Lomachenko fought Haney, people said, well, Haney won because of the body shots. Kambosos was landing plenty of body shots yesterday. No one was giving him credit for that. Now, granted, Haney has better defense than Kambosos, so he was able to limit the amount of punches more than Kambosos did. But still, Lomachenko beat him. So at this point, you have to say, well, Lomachenko's the best guy in the division because he technically he did get robbed against Haney, and then he beats the crap out of Kambosos. If he would have had an official win against Haney, people would still have him pound for pound, but they don't. But back to the Shakur Stevenson thing, you're right, man. It's the same thing. It's like I mentioned the body shots. They counted them for Haney. Nobody counted them for Kambosos against Lomachenko. It's the same thing here that Recognize brought up. Depending with different judges, how does the fight go? Because Shakur Stevenson wasn't doing squat against De Los Santos. And yeah, people say De Los Santos wasn't doing anything either, but what can you really do against a guy who leaps in the air the way Shakur Stevenson
does? What can you do with a guy who's committed to not get hit and run?
And by the way, because he, excuse me, real quick, he's leaping in the air, but he's got athleticism to do it extremely faster than the normal human being. That's what makes it even more difficult.
I read somewhere described Shakur's defense was like squirting a cat with a water bottle. The way they jump in the air when you squirt, they just all fours. Pew! It's like trying to squirt a cat with a water bottle. They just dive in any direction and get out of the way. Like, yeah, he was literally leaving his feet not to get hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. It's
crazy.
It's when your feet are leaving the air, you're leaping into the air. I mean, everybody, when you're taking steps back, some people do that. for a millisecond, their feet will leave. Both feet will leave the canvas. But this guy's leaping where he's leaping inches off the canvas, and he's doing it multiple times. And like I said, he's got the athleticism to do it extremely fast. So and then on top of that, you don't know when he's gonna stop and counterpunch. So that's what's difficult about it. And Shakur Stevenson with different judges, that's the main point that I have to repeat over and over. With different judges, if you were to fight Tank Davis that way, he wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt. Or I mean, I'm assuming he wouldn't.
I mean, look at some of his best wins. The Marine dude, Herring. Jamel Herring, he was old. That was probably his best performance, right? And that guy's old. That's his best performance.
Yeah, people would say maybe the Valdez fight, but again, Valdez.
But what's the common denominator? Smaller guys.
Yeah, that's he's a smaller guy. Then he blows weight against Conceição. He blows weight. He low blows him and doesn't get penalized for it.
But that's the thing, though. This is the thing, though, because we're talking about credit, right? With Lomachenko. Oh, how much credit does he really deserve for beating a guy in Kambosos? He wasn't that good. You're gonna tell me Valdez is really that good? I mean, he's one of the top lightweights, so he's good. But when Conceição beat him, but they robbed him. So again, it's the same standard for Lomachenko that people apply to Lomachenko. If Shakur Stevenson really is that good, then yeah, he was supposed to beat Valdez. And he dropped him, but that knockdown was more of an off-balance shot where both guys got tangled up, and the judges were just looking for anything to give to Shakur Stevenson at that time because he was the anointed one, the prodigal son. But now that he might have run his credit down, he might have ended his credit. It's run out. So maybe will they keep giving him the benefit of the doubt if he continues to fight the way he does? Maybe he'll finally.
I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna. Boxing has this trend of like humbling these fighters that get too privileged.
Alhamdulillah.
And yeah, alhamdulillah. I think he's gonna run into something, bro. He's gonna run into something. It might not be the guys that he want to fight. It might be like some kind of solid B level, like a De Los Santos. He tries to prove something. There's a reason he fights like that. There's a reason. Nobody who can, fucking hot box with you, right? Toe to toe. Let's do this shit. 1-on-1, right? Let's see what happens. A guy who's confident doing that and he knows he could do that, he ain't gonna choose to run. Like if I know I can knock you out, I'm not running. Why would I do that? Why would I keep you in the fight? I'm gonna bust your ass. I'm gonna do a Ryan Garcia on you. You're either gonna knock me out or I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. One or two.
But recognize that's the disappointing thing with Shakur Stevenson is he's a big good dude. He looks about the same size as Terence Crawford when they're side to side. He's got hand speed. I think he's got above average power, even though I think the reason why he fails to get the knockouts is because he's running around the ring, and B, his punching technique. I don't think he's turning his punches over properly. But that's what gets me. That's what frustrates me.
He got no heart.
It's difficult to ascertain what we mean by heart and all that. All I know is what I see. All I know is what I see.
In other words, he's not willing to like engage with you. There's a reason for that. I don't think he could take a good punch. He knows that, right? Like he knows that. He knows his power is not good. So it's not like because he got fast hands, right? So if he can more likely get there before you do, right? But he just doesn't have confidence in his power and his chin, right? He doesn't want to get Devin Haney, in other words. He doesn't want that to happen to him. He already seen it now. That's probably the worst thing that could have happened to Shakur Stevenson. Is like he saw that, he said, "Ah, shit, bro. If that's more likely what will happen to me if I get into a real boxing match where it's hit and not get hit, meaning he's got to fucking hit you, defend properly, and can he do that throughout a fight without getting clipped? And I don't think he's confident that could happen.
You know what? I think you might be onto something there. I concur with you. All I'm saying is because sometimes I've thought about certain fighters before, like these guys got no balls, and then they do show balls. But again, it's the way he's been acting on Twitter, which is you're looking at the real him, unfiltered, his real feelings, and it hurt him a lot when people criticized him for his performance because it was deserved. I think that's what hurt him the most because he knew, holy snap, this was embarrassing. But because for years he's been buttered up and people have been whispering into his ear, ESPN, the writers, the cock writers who think he's the next Mayweather or the next Pernell Whitaker. Yeah, you're the best, man. You're the best. Keep that O. And then when people finally turned on him, he said, well, what happened? The other problem with Shakur Stevenson, I mentioned he was running out of credit, is because when he was the anointed one, at the peak of Shakur mania, a lot of people in the LDBC and all that, they like the guy. You know, when he beat up a girl, they said, so what? It's not like he killed somebody. That's the way they framed it. But the real sin, they were okay with that. The real sin is when he started defending Lomachenko after the Haney fight. And then when he started representing Puerto Rico. That's what, so hitting a woman, all that was okay. But when he started saying, hey, I represent Puerto Rico, that's when they turned on him. And when he started defending Lomachenko. So he's ran out his credit now too with that community and with a lot of hardcore boxing fans. What was that?
I stopped liking him when he started representing Puerto Rico and he ran from a Dominican. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. No. Hell no.
Hey, listen.
A Dominican dude too on top of that? No. Come on.
He could be the next Wilfred Benitez, they recognize. I think you're selling him short.
He don't look like no Wilfred Benitez to me.
Well, he looks like the present day Wilfred Benitez. No, I'm kidding. That's a bad joke on Mother's Day. Poor guy. But
it's bad joke.
I know. I'm sorry. But the point is that he ran out his credit. And look, there's still hope for Shakur Stevenson. I've said it before. For boxing fans, it's all about what have you done for us lately. We only remember your last fight. So, by that metric, by that logic, if he looks good against his next opponent, Hartovisian or whatever, that Armenian guy that beat Frank Martin, hey, everything's golden. You're back in the fold. But he has to look good in this fight. This is a fight this is a good bounce back fight. It's a guy that's weak to the body. You can get to him, but you're gonna have to take some risks in there. Again, I'm not saying fight like a slugger and Arturo Gatti, but you know, put a little pressure on the guy. Don't start leaping back every time the guy breathes or blinks, because then you're not gonna be able to get to the dude. So that's my thing there on old Shakur Stevenson. What else? What else we got on the docket coming up? Because next week, of course, we have Fury versus Usyk. That's going to be a good one. That same, just to clarify, that fight then, the main event is going to be what, 6 p.m. Eastern time? The main event for Usyk Fury? I believe so. Okay, because they have on the same day, we have Navarrete fighting on ESPN. So I'm assuming that fight's going to be at night. Oh, speaking of night, okay. Let's talk about the logistics and the technical aspects of last night's broadcast on ESPN. I understand that they weren't in charge of the broadcast. They were piggybacking off the Australian feed. But here's what I don't understand. They say, we're going to do the fight in the morning or in the afternoon to appease the North American viewers. Well, you didn't appease anybody, because here on the East Coast, the main event started about 12:30. That's about the same time that I'm having my erotic dreams. So I don't understand what they were trying to say. Like, hey, we're doing it for you guys. Now, you weren't doing me any favors. You kept me up until 1:30 in the morning. Second of all, they have the Maloney fight against the guy with the Guevara with the old school trunks, man. I love those trunks. The Carlos Monzon, Ruben Olivares, Roberto Duran, like this silk satin, I don't know what they were, velvet trunks. They're very good looking. I wish more.
What is that, velvet? Is that velvet?
What are you, George Costanza? What's the matter with you? Anyway, I like those trunks. But that was a good fight, I guess, with Maloney and Guevara. Then all of a sudden, don't forget, we've got another treat for you. I go, ooh, women's fight. I go, is that a treat? Time to go take a leak. What's going on here? So I leave, and then then I go, okay, they're going to start the main event right away, right? Wrongo. They gave us a video package of Lomachenko, his life, what his favorite food, his favorite color, or where he went to kindergarten. then you have Bradley and Osuna and all these people talking. I'm talking, get to the fight. I'm not paying to hear these guys babble. I'm not watching a guy's Adobe editing skills or or Ableton. I want to see the fight. Is that too much to ask? I don't want to be kept up to 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's like, man, fuck all that. Who cares? Put the fight on.
I mean,
they have these, life.
they have these
Kambosos.
editors on retainer, so they have to make him count, I suspect, or something. But okay, could you at least shorten the video package to? We know who Lomachenko is. I know you're trying to get it and name it to people that don't know who Lomachenko is, but don't do a whole 24/7 video package right before the fight, especially when it's. And again, I know ESPN wasn't in charge of when the fight started, but this goes to the Australians too. I mean, those people. I wish that they have more COVID lockdowns over there, the way they were doing during the pandemic.
Come on, man.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, they deserve
Hey,
concentration camps. They deserve concentration camps for keeping me up at 1:30.
that's a little low. That's a little low.
It's high.
Mr. BDA,
It's high. That's what it is.
What it is with boxing, listen, I can't stand that too when they were saying, oh, we did this. They're fighting at 12:30 in the afternoon in Australia, so it'll be in prime time over in the United States. And I look outside, the sun's about to come up. What are you talking about? Prime time, you silly son of a bitch. I hear pigeons. It's already starting the birds are quacking, like 2 o'clock in the morning when the fight got over. But you got to understand, right, with a fight, because they have the schedule of fights. Say if it's a 12 round, say you got 3 12 rounds or even 3 10 rounds, and then the main fight's going to be 12. They have to space the fights out, start times. They have to figure each fight's going to go the distance. You can't count for knockouts. So I can understand if there's a lot of shoulder programming because you had like 2 fights in a row, a guy got knocked out in the second round. But that's when you approach the other team and say, listen, guys, be ready for, you're going off no later than this time, but you might be ready, 30 minutes early. But then it comes into this. Then it's like, well, we got to wrap our hands. Then we got to get our second sweat going. So you're not going to fuck our time up. And then it goes back even further than that when it was at the time where you would want to make the other guy, the champion, used to play games and make guys stand in the ring a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With that, they used to play that game and that got out of control. But a lot of that is because there's set times the fighters have to come out on. Every fighter, you're the third card, so you're going to be fighting no later than this, but it could be as early as this. They should do that instead of I'm sure they only tell them the latest it can be, but they don't account for knockouts. So it ends up, but last night, that wasn't the case because it wasn't a bunch of knockouts. So there was no excuse for that much time between the 2 chicks and fucking Lomachenko and Kambosos fighting.
Yeah, that's the thing. That on top of that, Jimmy, somebody in the chat is saying that in that female fight, one of them, Grievous, is saying that women's fight, 41-year-old, what a joke and a half. Yeah, apparently one of those girls was 41. And look, I got respect for female boxers because they do put in work. They train just as hard as they can, like the men. I've met female amateur boxers and I watch their fights. But when it comes to the boxing here, they're trying to replicate what's going on with the UFC, which for some reason, apparently, I think the guys over there do watch and enjoy those fights, those female MMA fights. So they're trying to do the same thing here with boxing, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get the women into boxing, first of all, to watch. It seems to me like that akin to what they were trying to do in Hollywood when Mad Max was released and they had that character, the Furiosa, and they were trying to appeal to the women, but the reality is most women don't want to go see an action movie. In fact, the movie that beat Mad Max Fury Road was Pitch Perfect 2, which is a chick flick. So again, they're trying to change normal, regular biology and the biological imperatives of certain sexes. And they, hey, come watch something that goes completely against your instincts, combat sports. Most women don't want to watch. There's not going to be a flood of women watching boxing, female boxing. So I don't understand why they keep pushing it.
She'll watch what I tell her to watch.
Exactly. There you go. That's the way it's done. And look, listen, I've tried it, the women's boxing. I've given a try. It's not for me. What do you want? Some people like Pepsi. Some people like Pepsi, classic Coke. Some people like cherry Pepsi. I don't know. It's this type of stuff. It ain't for me. So if you're going to put that in the fights, at least do us a favor, the long-time guys. The guys have been watching boxing for 25 plus years. And don't put a female fight as the co-main event or whatever they call it. Put that in as the third fight, the fourth fight. But for this fight taking precedence over Maloney versus Guevara, I don't know. I just think that's what I said a long time ago. I said the little guys are just finally starting to get back on track here and getting attention. And women are getting more attention now. Or at least certain TV networks and promotional entities are trying to give them more attention. I'm thinking, what about the little guys? Come on. You got Bam, you got Sonny Edwards, you got Nakatani. Let's give them, at least they're getting some shine. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they're being completely ignored. But yeah, I had a bone to pick with that whole thing starting way too late, man. It started way too late. It's on the Australians. But ESPN has done that in the past before, like with the Shakur Stevenson fight on Thursday. I think it started at midnight, I think, the main event. Which is, hey, man, people got to go to work, man. What are you doing? This ain't baseball where people are willing to stay up to watch the World Series up until the midnight. This is boxing. It's a niche sport. Get it together or don't get it at all, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, the Superfly series, it was actually Tom Loeffler who brought the little guys to attention. That Superfly series is what really kicked the little guys off. Chocolatito, to his credit.
Mm-hmm.
He had such a fan base that, it was the first series. It was funny. He was in the second series. That was when. So I went and did a little digging too. I just want to address now that I mentioned the Super Series real quickly. Take 2 seconds. The other day when Dora, who I get along with, I have no problem with Dora, but he was saying that he asked, was I any proof that I can post it? I'll post it in the chat. So if anybody wants to see it about Lomachenko, with Inoue. Inoue's first time he came to the United States, he showed up to be in the audience, attending the audience at Inglewood, California, the StubHub Center when Chocolatito fought Kuradas. And after the fight, his people tendered an official offer. All right. And it was for $1 million. It was more money than Chocolatito had ever made in his life. He's turned it down because he thought HBO was going to pay him more to rematch Kuradas, even though it didn't happen. His next fight was versus Sung Ringvasai. And he got paid only $400,000 for that, but he lost the decision. And that was the card that no, I'm sorry. It was after that he lost the card. It was rematch and Sung. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was the first one. Whatever, he got knocked out. Inoue showed up, and the only reason why he fought on the undercard of Superfly, that whole Superfly series, was after that fight, because of course, Chocolatito was expected to beat Sung Ringvasai, and Inoue beat Navarez. And they were going to announce it at the press conference, at the post-presser, that Chocolatito will be fighting Inoue for the unification. But what happened? Chocolatito got knocked out, got sparked out by Ringvasai. And then after that, they just said no. Chocolatito was asked one more time, and he just went, no. He didn't want nothing to do with it. And the only other champion at 115 was Yavai, the guy from England, who had 115 pounds. They offered him 3 times his highest payday. And Eddie Hearn said the money does not mitigate the risk of fighting that man. So they ducked it. So for that reason, he only won 1 belt to 115. So all the talk about missing Estrada and Chocolatito, miss me with that bullshit, because it never happened. In fact, Estrada never even responded to him. He offered all of them career high paydays. Chocolatito is the only one man enough to say, I'll take it. They agreed on terms, but then he got knocked out.
Right.
The rest of them wanted nothing to do with it. So that's the reason why. He didn't skip 115. They all avoided him like child support payments.
Well,
so he went up to 118 and fucking beat people up there, then 122.
Yeah, so, then, Chocolatito still saves face. He got his face planted on the canvas, but he still saves face, man, because it's not like he didn't want to fight Inoue. So
he agreed to terms.
Shout out to Jimmy for breaking that down. We got a phone call here. We're almost out of time here, but let's go to the phone lines. Before we do so, let's go to 210. 210, you're on the air. 210, what's on your mind?
Hey, Southpaw. What's up, guys?
What's up, Southpaw?
Hey, recognize. I got the joke, man. Coming to America line. What is that? Velvet? That's one of my favorite movies, man. My favorite scene is when the barbers are arguing about Mike Tyson and Ali, and every time they go to them, they're arguing about boxing. Man, that's funny because that's how people really are. That's how we really are, right?
I thought that was from Seinfeld with the George Costanza's obsession with Velvet. But anyway, go ahead, man. Yeah.
No, it was the Jewish guy coming to America, wasn't it? What's that, Velvet?
yeah. But it was a weird night, man. I got kicked off of Open Lines Fridays, and I went to go to find them. The place I usually go watch the fights at, they were showing soccer, and then UFC was on. That's what pushed it back too, was the UFC was on ESPN Plus. And so I had to sit there and watch these 2 fat fucking sloppy dudes. Just one got laid out. Okay, cool. Let's get to boxing. Yeah, it was late, bro, and I'm like, man, I really didn't have a lot of time to party afterwards. Like, man, I didn't leave that sports bar till because I usually go out afterwards. But man, it was late. I'm like, it is Texas. We're in the middle, so I can only imagine the East Coast.
But yeah, man, it's just weird. You're seeing all the clout chasing, and I knew this was going to happen. Now Tank is putting, his name out there, trying to attach it to Loma because Loma just got a victory, and that's what these young guys do. They try to ride the coattail. Every time somebody accomplishes something, they try to ride the coattail of and get in that algorithm, and that's the new way. So with Loma, he's not gonna. What I worry about is he's getting up there in age, but he still look good. But he's got the politics against him. If he fights Tank, the judge, he's gonna have to knock Tank out. There's no way he's gonna win the decision, or any American fighter for that matter. If he fights Shakur, which I don't want to see Shakur get any fight. I don't want to see him get rewarded. Man, that's one of those guys where I give a pass to people if they say they don't want to fight him. I'm not going to see it as a duck. When Tank said it, that's one of the few times I agree with Tank. I'm like, yes, I could see why he wouldn't want to fight him. It's not a duck because he's like, why am I going to chase this guy around the whole night? Like, why do I want to subject myself to that kind of frustration and that kind of dud of a fight? So that's the thing, bro. Like, and it's just they're going to see how they mix it up. But Loma has to jump on it quick, man, because he doesn't have a lot of time. I don't want to see him get, passed down and beaten by a lesser fighter because of age.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. And I think so that's why people kept saying in the chat that Tank Davis is gonna wait him out. Hopefully that's not the case. But even if that's the case, he still has options with Top Rank. They have a good set of fighters there on Top Rank, the lightweight division. So we'll see what happens there with Lomachenko.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all touched on the Shakur situation too, because he's demanding all this stuff from Top Rank, but Top Rank is like, wait a minute, why are we gonna hook you up when we all made you offers and you turned them down? So we don't know if you're gonna be with us next year. So why are we gonna hook you up if you're not sticking with us? You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't blame him for doing that. So just yeah, man, that's the only thing. We'll see what happens next, man. It's a good couple of months of fights, but I need you to do me a favor though, bro, for real. BDA, hook me up. We need this.
Hook you up with what?
Do y'all have brothels out there in Canada?
Ruffles? You talking about the chips?
Brothels. Do y'all have brothels out there?
Well, I'm pretty sure we do. I mean, I'm not gonna say yeah.
Okay, please, hey, bro, please take Bucho to one. He needs to get laid, bro. That guy's so uptight and wound up. I feel bad for him. He needs to loosen up, bro. Just take him out there, drop a couple $100 and just let him wet his whistle. He needs to just kind of release some energy, bro. But that's all I got, guys.
What happened? What happened?
No. I mean, well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? Constructive criticism, because I love you guys, man. I mean, like this panel is my favorite, the guys that are on right now. But Open Lines is kind of wild because it's a bunch of young guys, everybody's yelling over each other. But you got to bust each other's balls, man. You got to have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to Ring IQ, they make fun of each other. I mean, if they make a goofy point, you make fun of that goofy point for a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? And that's all I did. We had one guy saying that Muhammad Ali fights like a Muay Thai fighter. And I'm like, what, bro? And I was kind of just giving him shit for it. So we move on to Lomachenko. And I'm like, oh, hey, Lomachenko fights like a ballerina, right? According to this guy. And then they're, you're being facetious. And then blah, blah, they kick me off. I'm like, come on, bro, really? I'm like, you got to have fun, dog. And it's just like, it's okay. I was getting ready to leave anyway. So, hey, you got to have fun, man. Loosen up,
maybe that was Butch's way of having fun, though.
Nah, they were mad, and I was just like, dude, because that one guy was getting mad. I was like, yeah, and I even said, hey, bro, like I'm joking, bro. I'm joking. Like I joke around. I like to fuck around. Oh no, you're not. No, you're not. And kick me off. I'm like, I try to like, okay, guys, that's cool, bro. It's all gravy. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Just get him laid, and I think he'll be all right.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. You're saying it's all good, but then you keep saying that you brought it up. But I mean, all right, I'll go with it. I'll believe you that you're fine with it. You're cool.
But Bucho wasn't the only guy with the wrench, though, right? Though
it's all love. I ain't mad, bro.
Well, I didn't even know what happened, so I don't know who's saying what. But
no, it's all good. I mean, it's all good. It's all in good fun, bro. I'll call back next week. I don't care, man. Like,
yeah, either way, it's probably all going to come back on the next Open Lines Friday. And by the way, next Open Lines Friday is going to be even crazier with Fury versus Usyk. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Well, listen. Anyway, man, we got another phone call here, Southpaw. But thank you for your call. Call back next time. Take it easy out there.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Later, Southpaw.
Yeah, people are going at him in the chat, man. I don't know what's going on. I guess we'll talk.
I don't remember hearing that yesterday. I wasn't on the whole time though, so.
I'm not involved this time, so don't ask
Yeah,
me.
I'm
Bro.
surprised never Sobers was uninvolved in this. I'm pretty sure Sobers did have something to do behind the scenes. Hey, I gotta go to another phone call here real quickly, man. Before the phone calls, before we run out of time, actually. 214, you're on the air. 214. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I like. Yeah, Loma did his thing with George Kambosos, but George looked to go back to his normal self. He looked very close to what he looked like against Devin Haney. His wide punches. Loma had some kind of like wide hooks too that wasn't that accurate. Like it wasn't as good as Loma. My favorite Loma fight was the Lawrence fight. He wasn't as sharp as that, so I'd like to see him just have a title defense and just right into the sunset. I like to see Loma go off until leave with consecutive wins. He's trying to do too much. He's 36. He's not as sharp as he was. I think there were some times where he really could have put on the gas and got George out of there. But, I guess he was trying to be completely safe at the same time, even though there was nothing really a threat. George was never really a threat, even though he was going to try to go down to the body. And some people said that his body was getting red real quick. And I think that's a sign that maybe you should just pack it in. Him and Usyk, whatever happens next, Usyk win, lose or draw, he should just retire. Both of these guys should retire. They should leave on a good note. Especially if Usyk wins, he should definitely retire.
Well, boxing is replete with fighters that don't know when to leave. Because, here's the thing with boxers. They don't think the way you and I do because they know, for the most part, that they only have a certain amount of years that they can look good in. So if they look good, in their mind, it's not, hey, I'm not going to be looking like this forever, so I should just end on a high note. The way they think is, hey, I'm still good. I can still beat these guys. Let me keep going and going and going. That's why a lot of these guys don't retire until they get their crap kicked out of them because it's like an alcoholic. He has to hit bottom to finally stop. It's the same thing with these fighters. They have to hit that bottom, that wall, before they stop. And so
you never hit the wall during training. It always happens in a fight. You don't get that same intensity in a training. I don't care what you spar, how much you spar. It's not the same thing as a real fight.
Yeah. Although you know what, Caller? I can believe Usyk. I can see Usyk ending it after the Fury fight because he seems to be the type of guy that, I don't know, he's just, I can't put it into words. I can't articulate it right now, but he's done it all. So maybe he's thinking, all right, now it's a time to end it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps going as well because he's the ultimate competitor. It's hard to change the mentality of these guys.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, I would like if he does continue. I would like to see him fight the winner of Navarrete and that Baranchik guy. I think he could win, but it's gonna be tough because Navarrete is young. He's very young, very awkward, man. But George Kambosos and Neary, they're just very limited, and I like to see even though Neary is dangerous, he's powerful and strong. But after that, man, he was so limited. Some people were calling Neary a bum in the chat a couple of months ago, and I see why they were calling him a bum. He was out of his depth from round 2 going on. But yeah, those guys, they got attitude, and they might not have the ability, but they got the attitude. And in case of Neary, he got power, so that helps too. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing what Inoue and Loma do next.
There you go, man. Yeah, we're all going to be waiting to see what happens there. Boxing is happening, let me tell you. All right, well, listen, caller, good call. Thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
All right, I will.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's everything that's going on with boxing right now. We had Garcia versus Haney a couple of weeks ago. We had Canelo last week. We had Lomachenko yesterday. Next week, we got Fury and Usyk. Then after that, we got, we still have Tank Davis in June, and then we have in August we'll have Crawford, and it's happening. Boxing's happening. There's a lot of activity here going on here. Let's go to another phone call here. Hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit that like. It really helps out. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 608. 608. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I really think Loma is going to retire after a couple of very telling things. First, before the fight, you notice he never talks about Undisputed anymore. because he really feels he got it already. And then I noticed he's saying stuff like, all these young guys want to fight me now, meaning like Tank and all that, and they never want nothing to do with me. When he actually said these words when I was younger or when I was stronger and quicker. He actually said that. That was kind of telling to me. And then, and then there was a recent interview after the fight. It was on ESPN. They asked him. He said, "I was going to retire after Haney because I felt I won undisputed, and the only reason my father wanted me to win another belt tonight, so I did that for him." And nobody even caught that. And notice that even in the post-fight interview, when Tank, that fake call-out from Tank, usually, what did Loma say? I'll fight anybody. But Loma, he didn't really, he was more like, I think, seems like Loma's done, seems like to me. I mean, I know him. I really think this is his last fight.
We'll see, man. It's difficult.
Am I reading into it too much?
I mean,
because look at all the pictures he was taking with everybody afterwards. Like, I never seen, even when he beat Linares and Pedraza, he never did all that, taking pictures with all his team in the ring and taking pictures with Aram in the crowd and with the title belt. I don't know.
You know what?
Kind of odd to me.
Since we're speculating, you could be right. He's acting out of character. You're pointing out these things that are out of character for him, which again, I don't know if they're true or not. In the sense that I don't know if he's done similar things before or said similar things before. It could be that, but if we're speculating, it could also be that maybe he's getting more comfortable now as he ages. I don't know. It could be one or the other. We shall see, and we shall wait to see what happens in his next fight. Because again, the way the ESPN team was talking about was that. Yeah, it's in the pipeline. He's in the pipeline for the winner of Navarrete versus Berencic. So I guess we got to be patient.
To the caller's point too, Mr. BDA, I found he was very almost over emotional. I was attributed to the bounce back from after losing to Haney, but he was like welling up, and his father was hugging and kissing him a long time, and that would make sense if that was his last fight. He wants to go out on top, and like after all those years together, him and his father, like he did seem very emotional for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember that. He also said, I remember before the fight in one of his interviews, he said, like, I didn't want to go out that way, meaning the Haney. Yeah, like just what Jimmy said, and then he wants to go out with a happier moment. So that's kind of, I don't know. I really think it just doesn't seem the same Loma. Something's different about, like, he doesn't seem as, I don't know. I really think this is his last fight.
Well, he also said he's realized up until he admitted he was a very cocky individual, and now experience getting robbed, whatever, he's been forced to realize, like at the end of it all, especially what happened in Ukraine. I was just seeing some interviews and stuff with him, and what's become more important to him now. Like boxing isn't even the most important thing. Never mind, that's all it was to him was, the stardom and the gold medals and that shit. Now the most important thing is being a good father and a good human being. And I think he's starting to look at life and what's really important. So that changes him in some ways. But I like that he was vicious last night though. He wasn't asking the ref to stop it. I like that.
I don't know. I mean, being a good father and a good human being, nobody recognizes you for that. What's the point in doing that?
Looks so bad.
Because before he said he was very, like he said, people don't realize about me because nobody saw it, but I was very cocky. Like amongst friends.
My question is, he says,
he came off as smug.
My question is, he says, it's more important to be a good human being and a good citizen, a good father. What good is that if nobody recognizes you for it? It doesn't pay you money. I want the attention. I want the adulation. I want the money. That's the most important thing in life. I'm kidding, obviously. Caller, anything else you want to say? Caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
I mean, I was going what Jimmy said. Yeah, it's like even like another thing out of character. When has he ever brought his son to a fight?
Wait, that's a good point.
Seems like it with his camp.
Yep. I noticed that too. Had his son in the ring after.
Tons of stuff is out of character for him. It's just usually Loma, like Tank wants to fight. Yeah, I'll fight anyone. Like Loma's like, no, I just want to go. I think he even realized, like, these guys, I hope he realizes that these guys are going to want to fight him when he's like 38 and they're going to try to get him on his record. And I think he's smart enough to realize, like, no, you didn't want to fight me when I was at my peak. And now you guys are just trying to, I don't know.
All right. Well, listen, caller, interesting observations. We'll certainly keep our eye on Lomachenko, see if he's acting erratically. And call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, I just want to say about that. Yeah, that Lomachenko, when he let Comey off the hook, that's what he did. He let him off the hook. He should have jumped on him. But again, that's that arrogance. He thinks he's that good that if they don't hold me back, I'm gonna kill the guy. Guess what? That's what happens sometimes. All right, it's like a guy told me in one of my buddies from Vietnam. He goes, people make too big a deal about killing people. Okay, so what? Hey, fuck him. They shouldn't have been there. That's what he always told me. And hey, what sympathy did Jaeger get any sympathy when he was shot by a sniper across the heart? Did Franklin get any sympathy when he was in a bar and this little kid comes in with a box, candy, and then it's a bomb and he blows his guts out? Nobody had any sympathy. So what? Don't come at me with the whole, but he could have. This is boxing, man. He should have gone at Comey. He could have gotten a stoppage. Gonzalo and I talked about that. Remember, right after the fight, he says, "Why did he motion to the corner? Hey, stop the fight, guys! Stop the fight." I know they were friends or something, but hey, they always say there's no such thing as friends in the ring. So stop being that arrogant and go for the kill.
I lost respect for Ryan Garcia when he did that. I'm like, bro, fuck him, knock him out. I don't care if you knock him into a coma. He should have never been.
Definitely would have knocked you out if he could have. He definitely would have knocked him out.
He definitely would have knocked you out if he could have. Trust me on that. But he can't. So finish him.
Absolutely. We got another phone call here. I didn't see it. Let's go to it. 631. You're on the air. 631. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so first I'll just address Loma's performance. I thought it was good, but I was kind of getting a bit bored in the kind of later rounds, a little bit before the stoppage, oddly enough, because I thought it was becoming a bit too repetitive. And I was kind of seeing the same motions over and over again. But then he got the stoppage, so that was all solved. And I know, I'm guessing you guys stopped talking about it. I tuned in a bit late, and my phone started finally being able to call in the show again. But honestly, Shakur Stevenson, man, that shit was just so fucking cringy. He started pulling out the fucking race card and all of that other nonsense. And all I was thinking just reading that was just, man, I've never seen somebody given so much. And then he's so willing to cry the second something doesn't go his way for just a little bit. And from the way he was talking, I thought he had maybe re-signed or something, but he hasn't. So I'm just confused how you could be so entitled and such a bitch when you haven't even signed with the promotion. Of course they're not going to be talking about you like that because you're not theirs anymore. You're literally going to probably leave, or they're assuming you're going to leave next fight. I'm just perplexed how a guy like that, who's been given so much for somebody who's been so boring, is just talking like this. And I know people like to mention a lot of the other fighters that are boring and get a lot of attention, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think O'Shaquie Foster, who's honestly put on much more entertaining performances than Stevenson, gets that much of a shout out. Nor, even though he got a really good performance last time, I don't think Raymond Ford in his next couple of fights is going to get as much attention as Stevenson has been getting from Top Rank for years, and even now.
Well, that's because Stevenson had a medal around his neck. That usually gets you a good long way, especially in today's climate. That's why. But you're absolutely right. He doesn't seem to understand that the more he cries, especially when it's unwarranted complaining, he doesn't understand that actually gets him more animosity from the boxing fans. And you know why he keeps doing it? Because he thinks he's right. He thinks he's correct. He thinks he's on the right side of history. He doesn't understand that, hey, boxing fans, they like a guy. If he's not a trash talker, then shut your mouth and fight. If you're not a trash talker and you're talking, that usually means you're complaining. And that's what he's doing. And you're absolutely right on the money there, caller. He just doesn't seem to get it. He doesn't seem to grasp it.
And I think it's maybe it's I won't say I was a fan, but I liked his skills for a while.
Sure.
I think I gave that way too much credit, and I honestly let it blind me from the fact that he's not going to be the type of fighter that's but I don't know how to explain this properly, but the type of career he needs to have, he's going to be someone that can't get into big fights every 5 seconds. He might have to be someone that defends his title maybe 5 or 6 times before they even go and say, all right, we'll give you a unification now. But from the way that he talks and the way that he acts, he's not willing to do that. And that shit's just so frustrating because you're not the type of guy who should be demanding anything more than that.
Well, caller, think about it. $3 million per fight wasn't good enough for him. If the rumors are true that he refused that deal from Top Rank. So he's a guy that thinks he deserves $5 million because he's undefeated. That's the way. Because again, he got all these narratives pumped into his brain that he was the next Crawford, the next Mayweather, the next Pernell Whitaker, and he's not, at least not yet. He's got to prove it first. All right, well, listen, caller, great points. We got to move on here, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right.
We got another phone call coming in. Let's go to 254. 254, you're on the air. 254, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Are you taking it easy?
Oh, Gypsy, man. What's up, man? Yes, absolutely. I'm taking it very easy, even though I hear a lot of cursing from certain people all over the place. But I'm staying cool. I'm staying cool.
Bro, I'm taking it easy as well. We should all take it easy. Some people take it hard, but they're gay.
It's easy.
I mean, sorry. You know what I mean?
Well,
hold on. Take it easy.
Sobers, don't talk at the same time, Gypsy, because then I can't tell who's talking. I don't know if it's you or Gypsy. I mean, I confuse you both.
Yeah, he's a phony. That fool's a phony.
I was trying to say. I was just saying. I'll take it if it's easy.
There, there you go.
No. I just take it easy on myself, bro. You don't have to take it easy on me, bro. You don't have to do that.
All right, what's up, Gypsy?
Cool fight. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was hoping that Loma didn't stop him because I went on decision, UD, Loma. But it was cool. I liked it. It was pretty awesome. I mean, he only rounds I gave the Kambosos was like the first two because of the body shots. After that, it was just dominance from Lomachenko. Sheer taking it hard on Kambosos. Not easy. He was. But then Kambosos had his moments. He was hitting him in the body. It was moments where he actually hurt Lomachenko. Loma's still prone for that shit. I think Tank is looking at that. He's like, oh, he's licking his chops. He's like, maybe I can get him in the body and take him out of there. I'm like, good luck with that shit. I mean, I don't think maybe I'll give a flash knockdown, but that's about it. I don't see anything else from Tank Davis versus Lomachenko.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, again, there's a lot of speculation about where that could go, but they're probably going to keep him in top rank. Hey, by the way, we got the Usyk Fury festivities kickstarting tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow, probably do with the official preview show. Then, like we do for most big fights, probably some sort of a call-in show. Then maybe even a comparative analysis show. And then, of course, the open lines Friday before the fight. And maybe even a countdown show the day of the fight. I'll talk to Bucho about that. How are you feeling, Gypsy? How are you feeling, Gypsy? Are you starting to get the big fight
I'm okay, man. I'm actually excited for this shit. I don't care what happens. I'm still rocking with my boy Gypsy. All the way, the king.
Well, there you go.
See what happens. I don't care if he gets his ass washed, if he already dominates. I'm going with decision for the fight. Before it was knockout, within like 9, but based on how Fury's looking, I'm going with decision nowadays. I mean, even if he's, the reason why he's losing weight?
What is that?
Because the age and the weight that he's carrying is fucking up his knees and his mobility. His mobility is still, even with that 270, he was still like herky-jerky, still there, but not to the point where he feels comfortable. But he ain't going to go out there and bitch and whine and give excuses. Like he always says, I don't give excuses. I think that's what it is. I think he's losing that weight, so he'll be nimble. That's why that was probably another reason why he was clinching excessively against the MMA fighter, you know what I mean, which was completely unnecessary to clinch that much, even though I still believe he carried him. I still believe he fucking carried that dude. I don't care what anybody says.
Carried him and got knocked out.
Yeah, I do, bro. Like, any way you look at it, he's carried, bro. And that elbow that he threw, he was walking backwards, not going forward. That's why it's ineffectiveness.
But I got to ask you about the Lomachenko fight. What round did you see Lomachenko hurt to the body?
Somewhere in the mid rounds, bro. I forgot what it was, and then when the ref stepped in, he's like, "Oh, that's a low blow," but that wasn't a low blow. It was like right above the belt line, literally above the belt line.
But I'm asking you, what did Loma do? So, did Loma, instead of outpunching him by 70%, did he outpunch him by 68%? Like, what's your matrix to say?
No, he dominated. I didn't say anything, bro. Like, get your homosexual vibes away from me, bro.
My point is this, dude, bro. No, you make a comment about he was hurt. Like the other guy called, dude, said he almost had Loma knocked out. You said he was hurt to the body.
I did not say Loma got knocked out.
BDA, did you see
Loma
hurt to the body? I did not say that. He hurt
him a little bit to the body. It's not to the point where he knocked him out. He was about to knock him out.
No, but you said he hurt him to the body. I didn't even get hurt to the body.
Jimmy.
I seen
Even with
him.
Canelo,
I seen him land
when
4 good body
Munguia
shots in the
hurt
first
Canelo,
round. That was it.
bro, he landed a few body shots. Some of them were where Loma was taking control. When he landed like a couple of those body shots, Loma stepped back, had to fucking recompose. But the thing is, Kambosos didn't follow with anything else. He let him recover because I mean it's not easy to catch him anyway because that fool has way faster feet than Kambosos. So good luck catching him.
There's definite
Even when he
tells,
got
man.
hurt.
If somebody
He's the same
suddenly
thing as
sticks their
Usyk.
elbow to their side, if they back out, there's certain things you can tell when that shot affected them. So I agree. There's tells though. You can usually tell.
I'm good with these type of shit, bro.
I'm
I'm
very
good
good at
with
picking up when
reading people,
somebody's
bro.
been hurt to the body. I didn't see it last night. That's why I'm saying. That's all.
I know, Jimmy. I know what you're saying, but I'm good with reading people, bro. And I tell you that he got a little bit of. It's a body shot. You're gonna feel something, especially if he catches you in the right spot. You're gonna feel something. I noticed some shit. That's all I can tell you. I noticed some stuff.
I agree with Gypsy.
He's always had problems with body.
You're on a different level,
Toledo
brother.
gave him problems.
You're my guy, Gypsy. You know that. You're my guy. You know that, dude.
You're my guy.
Yeah, I like you too,
He's
bro,
my
Jimmy. I got
guy.
nothing against. Take it easy. Take it easy.
All right, brother.
All right, thank you for your call, Gypsy. I think, like he said, everyone should take it easy. There was a reggae song called "Take It Easy."
guys.
All right, take it easy, man.
I like to take it any way I can get it.
All right, now wait a minute. See, it's a Sunday show. I keep telling you this. Yeah, I keep telling you it's a Sunday show, and you keep trying to. I think you're doing it just to upset me. That's how I'm thinking. Anyway, listen. The point is,
depends on what you're talking about taking.
PDA, are you upset? Are you upset?
No, I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I'm furious. That's what I am. Because I've been trying to get. No. I'm not upset. I'm furious because I've been trying to get this show on the right track. I'm still pissed off about the fact that I actually woke up late today. Because of last night, I stayed up way too late. I was feeling sleepy. I didn't even enjoy the fight.
I don't want
to
hear these excuses. These are
not
excuses. Why
I'm
did you
telling
get
you
up
what
late?
I'm not making excuses. I'm telling you how it affected me. I'm telling you how it affected me. See, recognize the guy that stays up all night. I don't know what he does. I don't want to know what he does. He stays up all night. Jimmy too. Jimmy too. They're night owls. I'm not a night owl. I want my pajamas, like those cartoon pajamas, like that gown there with the stripes and the funny head with the ball and the funny head with the ball at the end. That's what I'm wearing by the time it's 12:30. I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming. These fucking guys. Hey guys, we're doing this for you. We're starting the event so that you guys can watch it over there. Like Jimmy said, prime time. It's 12:30 in the ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
I go to bed early. I can't help it. The prostitutes are out at night. So I have, you know what I mean? There's nothing I can do about that. Don't blame me.
There you go. I got you.
Nice.
By the way, shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Usyk via Zelinsky airstrike versus Fury's Gypsy Magic. All right, Chris K.
I mean, is this necessary? Like, saying stuff like that?
Well, it's not. It's unnecessary, but it's funny. I'll say that. So I got Chris K. I wrote down your prediction. I'm starting to write down things for tomorrow or Tuesday's show, whenever we do it. And shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Where is broke Floyd? He wants to fight Tank, but if he wants to pay his debts, Canelo versus Floyd too. Age don't matter. Look at George Foreman." Wait, he's suggesting Canelo versus Floyd too. Maybe if he's that desperate for money. But I will say this. Again, we haven't talked about this in a while, so might as well bring it up now as the last subject before we go. When they announced the Amazon deal with the PBC, that was in February, right? Minimum it was 2020.
I think so.
December 10th.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, so they announced their first event in April. I mean, for April. So it was 4 months before the actual thing went down. They were already announcing it. Nothing in between. Then somewhere in 2024, they said, "Hey, we get the June card too with Frank Martin and Tank, and we've got Canelo Munguia, which is going to be duly broadcast by DAZN as well as Amazon." Now we're in the month of May. And there was a rumor that there was going to be an August card. Well, it's about time they announced it. So just to speculate here, what's going on? Is that Amazon so-called deal, which is only a distribution deal, is that falling apart? What's going on?
Absolutely. Clearly.
Absolutely, you're saying.
When they announced it on when they announced the Amazon deal back in December, they laid it out. There was going to be equal amount of pay-per-views and free events. So far, there's been no free events. The 3 cards that they're going to be putting on, all 3 are pay-per-views. The first one did like historically bad. So my thing is this: Heyman, he's smart if he's anything. Imagine being like that. Goes to show you, like, it's a total distribution deal, because if it was reliant upon Amazon saying, listen, you know, if we do good numbers, if this is worth our while financially, we'll keep this thing going. The fact that Heyman put on such a shitty pay-per-view that he knew nobody was going to buy, right, tells me that he was almost like a fuck you to Amazon. Like, why would he have done that? Clearly, he was expecting probably maybe money to go along with the distribution. It didn't come. And the fact that Espinosa, who's he's been hired as oh my God, he's like the consigliere now, but he's out there trying to drum up other networks. They're still trying to find other deals. And so from what it looks like now, it's you got a bunch of PBC fighters about to fight on a DAZN card, and the ones who aren't are fleeing. He's lost, 2 or 3 more champions this week? I mean, it's looking like it's all coming apart over there. I mean, they've lost Gerard Ennis, Matisse. Who do they have? Who do they have as champions? Who's their best champion right now?
Tank Davis? I mean, that's their biggest star, right?
That's it. So. That's it. Gary Russell Jr., the second Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, all they're gone. Wilder doesn't have a belt. Spence doesn't have a belt. Charlo's. I mean, I think they finally stripped Jamal. Didn't they strip him off this last arrest or something? WBC I heard rumors that they really pull his belt, the WBC from him. Yeah, so I mean, they've literally down to nothing. They're a shell of what they were just a year ago.
Well, you know what's interesting
what is
about
the
that?
PBC now?
I was watching a podcast. Everyone's got a podcast now. Henry Cejudo and Camaro, what's his name? Usman or Usmani. They have a podcast together, and they had Caleb Plant the other day. And by the way, I hate to say it, but there's a reason why I don't listen to too many podcasts, is because anybody now who's got some sort of fame decides, hey, I'll just do a podcast, and not everybody's done or made to be able to ask good questions and all that, because they've got Caleb Plant, and they spend more time talking. Like, for example, Henry Cejudo, he's just happy to be there. He's smiling all the time. He's like, hey, let's have a good time. But he's not asking really good questions. And then Usman, every time he asks a question, he has to preface it with a diatribe about him. It's like, he asked Caleb Plant about his daughter. We all know the thing that he had with a daughter of his that passed away. And Kamaru Usman's like, how did you feel when your daughter passed away? And then he starts talking about himself. I, as a father, and he starts talking, and you could tell Caleb Plant's a respectful guy. And he's just sitting there like, okay, well, you going to ask me a question, man? But I couldn't help but think during that show, what's going on with Caleb Plant? People keep asking him, hey, what's your next fight? What's your next fight? He's like, oh, we're looking into what the next fight is, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't fought since March. That's another guy, Caleb Plant. Well, what's he doing? He's in his prime right now. He's what, 29, 28, 30? What are you doing?
They were trying to make the Charlo fight because he was going to go up to 168. Clearly, there's unfinished business there since Caleb smacked him in the mouth. So, but I guess that's fallen through because Charlo's too busy out endangering the lives of children.
Yeah,
Isn't that one of his charges?
I don't know, man. I mean, he's got a bunch of them, so I suppose. But Jimmy, why couldn't Caleb Plant just do what Gerard Ennis did, what Andy Ruiz did, what what's his name, Matias did, and all these other guys that I'm forgetting, and just jump ship already? I believe
he made too much money. He made too much money because they're on a progressive slide over there, progressive contracts. You make X amount of dollars, you automatically resign to the PBC for 2 years.
Oh, now is that a fact or is that money?
Oh yeah, that was Kid Austin. His father talked about it when he was on. Did it on, was it the Boxing Voice? I don't remember exactly what podcast, but he broke it all down. And again, Tree Street Controversy, he got his hands on a PBC contract and spent 35 minutes reading it. It's like War and Peace. The most boxing contracts, 3 or 4 pages. This fucking thing was like a verse of the Bible. It was crazy. Hey, Clearly, you need a lawyer to go over it. I'm sure most of the guys sign it without a lawyer.
So Caleb Plant
right there,
is planted at the PBC.
Plus, he likes to be with his own people. So I can understand he wants to.
What does that mean, man? What are you trying to say, man? What are you trying to say? And by the way, it's interesting you mentioned Espinoza. You say he's the consigliere over there, but he's not. They didn't hire him. I don't think they hired him fully. So I think what they told him is, Tom, you're not a wartime consigliere. I think that's what they told him because he's not fully employed.
Tom.
You're right. Yeah, Tom, can you get me off the hook for all time's sakes? No, but
for all time's sakes, can't do it, Sally.
Oh man, but yeah, man, it's yeah. Poor. I do feel for Plant, man, because if that's true, what you're saying that he made a certain amount, so now he that immediately automatically re-ups the contract. Yep. He's stuck over there, man. He's losing.
Yeah,
he's
but don't
losing
worry,
prime.
dude. He's got a fucking crazy sneaker collection.
Yeah. All right, stupid me. I forgot about that. You're right, Jimmy. Yeah, the sneaker collection.
Like really, dude. He's all proud that he spent like 6 figures on his sneakers. Yeah,
you know what?
Does that age well?
You know what? A guy like that, he makes his money. He earned it. He can spend it on. You know, we all have frivolities that we. You know, I like for a while I was spending money on shortwave radios, and now that's kaput with the internet and all that. So I kind of look like an idiot too. But hey, man, it's you know, money comes, money goes. That's the way I look at it. I don't besmirch people for.
Well, he does. I like his car collection. He's got low riders and shit. I like a couple of his cars. He's really involved in that community. I just think sneakers are a silly investment because it's not a real investment, especially once you put them on. Do people really buy used sneakers? I don't know. Maybe there's a big market for it. I just found it to be silly. But remember that big wall in his house, all his sneakers?
Right.
Like, hey, at least you got, what about your daughter's fucking, do you have anything, tucked away for your school or anything? What?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but I will say that I think one of the reasons why a lot of people do look down on that is because shoes are accessories to a certain degree. So people look down on a guy spending that much money. It's associated. People make it seem as if it's a vain pursuit. You know, it's vanity. So I understand why people look down on that, but I've learned not to be overly critical of people how they spend their money. I mean, if you were spending it all on shoes, then yeah, of course you had a problem with it. But he looks like he's responsible.
I haven't learned that yet.
Well, I mean, it's you're half Irish, half Italian.
I'm just a petty douchebag. I'll admit it, but I think it's kind of fucking goofy that dude would spend that kind of money on sneakers, man. I don't know.
Well, we had a phone call here coming in. We're almost at the end of the show here, so we gotta take this. Let's go to 305. 305, you're on the air. 305, what's on your mind?
Hi, BDA. It's been a while, man. How are you?
Good. Who is this? Just remind me.
Anthony,
what's up, man?
What's on my mind, realistically, when I look at how people are calling for Tank versus Loma, but realistically, I don't think Bob is going to get enough money up front to justify that fight. So I think he's going to stick in-house for his fights, like Loma versus Navarrete, Loma versus Shakur, Loma versus De Los Santos, like people in that stable. I don't think he's going to go out of his stable for a Tank fight because he's not going to get enough money when he signs. Like, I don't think he's going to get enough money up front or in the back end to justify signing that fight, like, as a promoter. Do you guys agree, or is that like, or am I looking too much into it?
Well, Bob's worth tens of millions of dollars. The promotion is too. They got tons of money, and I mean, Tank's highest guarantee he's ever made is $5 million. Bob Arum was paying. What's his name? Crawford $3.7 million guaranteed per fight, making him the highest paid person under the heavyweight division, guaranteed money. So yeah, Bob pays his guys well. It just, will he do it? Yeah, no. If the money's right, because it's the back end with a pay-per-view with Lomachenko and Davis Sell. Yeah, but right now it's not a buyer's market. You know what I mean? Well, it's a buyer's market because the economy sucks. I mean, we just saw that if it's true, the numbers Munguia were only crusting over 500,000, even though Munguia was, a newer, younger fighter. I'm still surprised. I would have thought it would have done more than that, which just goes to tell you it's not a good market for pay-per-views right now, so it would have to be worth it. But it's not about money, brother. To be on the short end, Davis will never take that fight. Never, ever. will go anywhere near Lomachenko.
Ever.
That's a pipe dream. Ever. Maybe if Lomachenko is maybe shot in the back of the head and he becomes a paraplegic, I could understand. Maybe he might think about it then, but no fucking way.
So you're saying he's going to be living in the land of nevermore?
What's your opinion?
Well, hey, caller, what do you think about? Caller, what do you think about what if the
no.
Right. What if the Sultan comes in? What if the Arabs come in, the Saudi Arabians, and they say, "Hey, we'll make the fight. We'll put up the money." You think then that would change? That could make it happen, or?
Yeah, no, that would definitely change Bob's line of thinking. But as of now, with the Arabs not being involved, I don't think the amount of money he's going to get up front or in the back end is going to justify him making this fight with Tank, because he's not going to get enough money and stuff like that for Loma specifically, even though and he make more of a profit if he stays in-house with the fighters that he has in his stable with De Los Santos, Navarrete, and Shakur against Loma than he's going to make with splitting the purse with Al Heyman and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's a good point,
without the Saudis being involved, I don't think this fight happens realistically. If the Saudis do get involved, like you might be predicting, then it happens. But as of now, with the Saudis not being involved, I don't think Bob signs that fight, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's the way it could go. All right, well, listen, caller, Anthony, thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Okay, have a good day.
You too, man. Let's go to another phone call here. Another phone call coming in. 917. 917, you're on the air. 917, what's in your mind?
Are you not entertained?
All right. What's up? We are entertained, and we're taking it easy, as per Gypsy's request. What's up there, caller? Caller? Oh, he hung up. Listen, fellas, we do have to move on, man. It's almost late here, and I got stuff to do, man. It's gotta call the mother. But listen, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. By the way, hey, one quick note. We were talking about frivolities and sneakers, whether some people consider that. I've seen, there's a documentary I want to see about audiophiles. These are people who, they are obsessed with getting the clearest, crispest sound when they're listening to their music. So it's got to be vinyl because it sounds better. Then they get this super expensive equipment, the top-end speakers. Then there's even a Japanese guy, apparently. He says, oh, no, even the electric line affects the quality of the sound. So he pays, I don't know how much per month to get just a single electric line for him, specifically for him, exceptionally for him. And you're thinking, holy smokes. And not for nothing, but I heard that some of the guys that they're interviewing who are audiophiles, they tend to be weirdos and they tend to be very impatient or just downright boorish. So some people started wondering whether there was a connection with that type of obsession and maybe people who are of salty character. I don't know, but I want to watch that documentary. I think it's from Netflix. I forget. I got to look it up. But yeah, people, man, like I said, shortwave radios, stamp collections, sneakers, phones. Some people do that. Like some Asians, a lot of Asians. That's a stereotype. They every year they buy a new smartphone. They just have to have.
With the stereo, I mean, my stereo. I got a Bang & Olufsen. I paid $18,000 for it. My house stereo. I paid $5,000 for each speaker.
But
I'm just kidding, dude. I'm not an asshole. I saw one when I was in Boston a couple of weeks ago. It was literally $18,000 for the stereo system. It sounded nice,
Jimmy. You do have an obsession, man. You do have an obsession. I don't know if you want to tell people what it is. It involves caffeine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's a bad thing, huh?
No, you told me you spend a lot of money.
Espresso, yeah. I spent stupid money on an espresso maker because I drink espresso too much.
There you go.
But then again, shit.
You're half Italian, so it's like me
I
buying.
drink it before going to bed so I can have better dreams.
That's insane, man. I don't know how you do that. Taking caffeine.
Literally, right before I go to bed, I'll fucking take a shot of espresso.
Holy shit. Well, how do you even... Wait a minute. It
has no effect on me. The difference is if I don't drink it, I get pounding headaches. I go through withdrawal.
Oh, you got the... Yeah,
so it's kind of like heroin. Like junkies, after a while, they stop getting high. They just take it just so they don't feel sick.
How many do you drink per day? How many coffees, whether it's espresso
Way too
or
much,
just...
to the point where the doctor's like, you got to get off it because I'm building up ulcers now. Yeah, too much. Like I probably drank 10 cups of espresso yesterday.
Wow. Okay, but
because I make
yeah.
3 at a time. I do 3 large espressos. I mix it with ice, crush it up in a fucking blender, and make my own like caramel. I buy the gallons that they sell at Dunkin' Donuts. You can buy them $45 a piece online. So I make
drank
my
coffee.
own fucking caramel espresso things.
I drank coffee once. I made the mistake of drinking, because they always say don't drink coffee after a certain hour, past 5 p.m. or whatever. I did that. I was tossing and turning till 5 in the morning, man. I'm not kidding. I'm my receptors. I drink a cup of coffee. I'm going to the moon, man. That's why I tell people I don't need LSD. I tell people I don't need LSD. I don't need ayahuasca. I don't need shrooms. I don't need the adobega, whatever that African psychedelic is. Give me a cup of coffee. I'm good, man. I'm going to the store. I'm seeing the machine elves by myself.
Jesus Christ! So you must be off the hook when you do a rail, huh?
What do you mean when I do a rail?
If you bang back a couple of booger lines, you must be fucking just wrecked.
Hey, maybe that's how we can get Ryan Garcia on the show. We'd tell him, hey, we do that too, man. But listen, shout out to everybody on the panel. Recognize, you're Puerto Rican. Do you drink any of those Puerto Rican espressos too, or? See that when Recognize stays silent, that's his way of telling me, "Fuck you, BDA." But yeah, man, listen, I want to give a shout out to Recognize. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy, Never Sobers.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Oh, sorry. I like Bustelo. Bustelo. I like, yeah. You ever heard of Bustelo?
No.
Very strong. It's a very strong espresso.
Yeah, it's funny.
Isn't it?
It's like it's Colombian coffee, actually.
Okay.
Yellow package, right? Yellow and red, right? Yep. Oh, yeah. I tried it.
Yep.
Now let me ask you this.
I like Starbucks Italian roast. That shit is good, man. Holy shit.
Now Recognize, you've talked about before that you have a sweet tooth. You like yourself some pastries, ice cream, that type of stuff. Are you the type of guy that needs to have the sweet thing with coffee in order for the contrast?
No, I'll have my coffee with either a slice of Italian bread with butter. I put it in the microwave and let the butter melt a little bit, just a little bit. And I know this is gonna sound funny, but I actually put salt in on the Italian bread too, a little bit of salt, and then I dip it in the coffee and I eat it like that.
Interesting. Hey, he's got a whole system, like in Goodfellas when they sliced the onion so that they would melt on the pot. That's good, man. That's good. Recognize. It's interesting because some people here in Canada, there's a big Arab population, and over there in their culture, they put pepper in the coffee. I don't know why. I've never tried it, but yeah,
it heats up the body. It heats up the body. It helps you stay regular, and it also helps you lose weight.
Interesting.
If you could put cayenne pepper or red pepper inside your coffee.
Right.
Yes.
I'm gonna try it.
I mean, why not, man? I was drinking ginger with water today. Let me tell you. And then I start chewing on the ginger. I start eating it. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, man. It wakes me up, man. Absolutely, it's good for the sinuses too. But anyway, listen. It's turning into a second renaissance. It's turning into The View here. What type of food do you eat when you're on your period? Now listen, we gotta go, man. We gotta go. I gotta go take a wicked leak.
Raw meat.
What did you say?
Raw meat.
Raw meat. Oh yeah. Supposedly RFK Jr. said he had a brain worm, and he doesn't know how he got it. That shit terrifies me. Parasites and all. I didn't even like talking about that. Anyway, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who joins, by the way. Recognize Jimmy, Never Sobers. Shout out to you fellas. Take it easy. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk later, especially this week. Fellas, this week we kickstarted the festivities for the big fight between Usyk and Fury. Call-in show, prediction show, whatever. It's all going to happen, so stay tuned for that. Shout out to everybody who donated with the super chat, everybody that called in, and everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Little Mike Tyson Punch-Out, Mark, E.K. Tran, Dark Hey Dog. Shout out to Dark Hey Dog. He says, it's your estrogen levels, BDA. Joking. Come on. They gotta always get one last dig at Mr. BDA before we go, because they think I'm not gonna hit back. But I bide my time. I'll hit back. Shout out to Quags as well, another one of the anointed. I am your leader as well. Shout out to him. YouTube channel Numbers X, The Blame Boxing, Knockout Net, J. Cole, Protectorate General, CRG, The Boxing Sicario. Who else? Baron Evola. Chris K. Shout out to Chris K. Shout out to JumpTube, Quentin Lassiter.
Evan.
All right, Jimmy.
That kid Evan who gave a bunch of...
Oh, wait, I got to give a shout out. My boy Booty Juice.
See, that's
shout out to Booty.
That's what I was telling Jimmy. Don't do it, because then Record is going to jump in, then Never is going to jump in. Everyone's going to jump in.
I just wanted you to make, because that kid Evan, I believe that was his name, he gave a bunch of super chats, so... And he's not a regular, so I didn't think you'd remember him.
I do remember him. I got a good memory. Don't fret about my memory. And it's not Evan, it's Evanor, I think. I just talk about the memory, and then I
don't remember. Yeah,
I think it's Evanor. Yeah, but anyway, shout out to him. Shout out to everybody. Everybody gets a thank you. Like I said, this is the Oprah show. Everybody gets a thank you. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll try to be back tomorrow to kickstart the festivities. And that's about it, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
I'm disappointed in everyone.